I don't hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
You got like a tablet, and then you had to like add a keyboard, like from like Best Buy or something.
No, I bought it all together. It came together. I mean,
The
but I
tablet
guess
came.
I asked for it too, though. I'd be like, I want this, and it all came. No.
You don't think that's wanting too much, like to have like a tablet with a keyboard connected?
No, man.
You don't
it's
think
perfect.
you're asking for too much? Like you can't just like type on your tablet. That's the purpose.
I could though. That's the thing. I could. I can bring that screen up and type on it if I wanted to.
I feel like if you got a keyboard connected, you might as well just have a laptop though.
Yeah, but sometimes I want to take that shit out and put it to the side.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Or when I'm watching shows. It's called having options, man. You know what I'm saying? It's good to have options sometimes, you know?
Hey, we recording. We recording too, man.
Oh, yeah?
By the way.
All right, we live. All right, cool.
Yeah, we straight live, man.
So
I just wanted to come in hot.
Okay. Yeah, I had no clue.
Yeah, you good, man. You good, man. Matter of fact, but before we get too deep, man, because we're going to start this off early, because sometimes we have like guests and like, you know, they like people of significance that might have created a program or like, you know, started, you know, something, or they can speak for a program. However, today we got a guest host, you know what I'm saying? So I think we had a guest host one other time before. And they normally people we love and stuff like that. So who we got the pleasure of talking to today?
I don't know if it's the pleasure, but this GSE1 McPherson, you know, currently in Norfolk.
Yeah.
You know, C-Stick, you know, 2M Life, 2M Shore Duty.
It's crazy because I was just out there, man. I told you I was going to come by, man. But I just, my week got super duper crazy.
Now, when you get that star, you know, then you got to start lying to the common folk. Because you know who else told me they was coming by? Senior Reeves. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come check you out this week. I ain't seen
it.
Yeah. So when y'all get that star, man.
You know what? Man, I tell you what. This just lined up perfectly, man, because I'm coming out there June 6th.
Okay.
Right.
So I'm gonna make sure I get pictures and shit and put on here and say, y'all remember this shit, and put it on there and post it and shit like that, man.
Okay.
And let you know it ain't about the star, it's about the person, man. It's not about the star, it's about the person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see like people who put keyboards on tablets, man. I can see them visiting. So if you got a tablet with a keyboard on it, I'm sorry. Hey, so what happened was this. You know, I had to go there for DAPA school, right? So I go there for DAPA school, and then so the first day we at DAPA school, the instructor, he like, hey, tomorrow. I don't think he was supposed to be the instructor. So he like, hey, tomorrow I got an appointment. He was like, so y'all don't got to be here till like 1300. So he was like, also, you know, go to an AA meeting. So you know, at some point you gotta go to an AA meeting. Yeah. But he was like, hey, just to make this easy, let's just do the AA meeting like tomorrow or whatever like that. So the schedule just totally went like out of whack. And then on Monday I was tired because I shot out Sunday night and I checked into a hotel. My dumbass, I wrote my travel orders for Monday. So I wrote the hotel orders for Monday by Sunday. So I paid my own money for the hotel from Sunday to Monday. So I wrote out like 8 on Sunday, and then I got there about 12:30. So I left at like 8:30 or something, got there about 12:30. And then I checked out the hotel on Monday morning, checked back into the hotel. But we lost a day of training. It was crazy, man. It was a lot of stuff. Like just the schedule was training, but the training was good. The schedule was crazy, but the training was good. And it's a lot of new stuff in that instruction that people, I'm glad they kind of taught to that instruction because I know that instruction came out and a lot of people probably read it, but it's a lot of new stuff. Like they added gambling in there. I don't know if you know that. They added gambling in there. In the DAPA instruction, they added gambling in there.
That's dangerous.
Yeah.
They
added. To hear that.
Yeah, they added gambling. They shortened the amount of time for like DARs and stuff like that. So that's the the drug and alcohol report. They shortened it from it used to be 30 days to have that thing done and signed by the captain and stuff like that. After you find out about the incident and stuff like that. Now it's 14. So that thing got to get done. And that's one of them things that I have seen. Me being an ADCO, I have seen like issues with people forgetting to get with Skipper stuff like that. So It is a whole lot going on with that. It was a good class, really good instructor, some good stuff going on with that Dapper stuff. And I got a chance to go to my first ship. Right. So that brings into some questions that I got for you, Damon. So I went to my first ship, right? The USS Velagov. And I actually had a pleasure of meeting like one of my very first like new check-ins, like some guy from like he was an E1 when we first met. His name is EMC Martin. He's a chief now. So he was an E1, I was a second. Now he back on the same damn ship. You know what I'm saying? So he back on the ship, and the ship she about to decom. So I got a chance to go to my first ship, see one of my first junior sailors ever. That's a chief now, and that was a great moment. But I took a picture, man. You know, I took a picture and I posted it on Facebook and Instagram, and I got a lot of hate for it, man. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things is I was sitting on the P100, you know, the container for the P100, and I want to do some Mythbusters right now, man. Like, what's the deal? Because I ain't never seen no instruction and nothing like that say you can't sit on that. So what's the deal with that, man?
I think the biggest thing about not sitting on a P100 is a couple of things. One, it's not a rules, not a regulations, nothing about sitting on a P100 case. But it is something out there that I have seen posted on those little electric boxes that's down low, and they don't want nobody to sit on them. So they always put this little sign on them and say, don't sit on the electric box right there. So we just getting a little payback. You know what I mean? From people who sitting on our P100. So we just like, hey, you know what? We can't sit on that. Guess what? You ain't sitting on this shit either. That's kind of all of what it is, man.
Yo,
like
you completely diverted my question, like to bring your bullshit up.
No,
like,
no. I answered your question. I said it's nothing saying you can't sit on that P100 case. It's you know, it's
hey, all right. So luckily we got another electrician here, right? We got GSE1 here, right? Worst case scenario, somebody sit on that P. What's the worst case scenario? Somebody sit on that P100 case, GSE1.
Sitting on that. I mean, let's see. Worst case scenario. I mean, there is no worst case scenario. I mean, I can't even think. I was about to try to be witty or clever, but I can't even think of one.
Right. It's a casualty, right? It's the worst case scenario is it's a casualty, and a DC man gonna have to ask you to get up, right? I tell you to get up. Like, hey, can you get your ass up?
I don't want to have to ask you that shit, man. I don't want to have to ask you.
Are you just gonna hit them bells and get your ass off that? Get your warm ass off that P100, right? And that's it. What's the worst case scenario? Because I think what you talk about are the electrical transformers, right?
Dude,
you talking about people sitting on the transformers, right? That's what you talking about, right?
Yeah. One of the best seats in the house, man. You tell me I can't sit right there.
It's probably nice and warm too. It's
nice and warm.
It's probably nice and hot. That shit could get a whole lot hotter.
Hey, man, I remember sitting on one before, man, and you know when you kind of senior, they don't really want to say nothing to you.
Yeah.
Right. So I get a little hey, senior, hey. You can't sit on that. It was like real clever, real low.
Yeah, I hope it wasn't none of my guys.
Smooth.
I hope it wasn't none of my guys.
And then look, and then they like first off they pointed. You know how when somebody point, you kind of like follow their finger like this, like
yeah, they try to be nice. Yeah,
then you point at the little sign on there, say don't sit on there. Like, okay, thanks, man. And then I kept looking at them to make sure they wasn't being disrespectful. I like looking at them like.
What you mean? What like? All right,
you know what I mean?
See, you see what I'm saying?
I know them electricians, man. You know y'all electricians, man.
So he got his ass. He got his ass on a transformer trying to warm his ass, right? And it's an EM trying to tell him that shit could get a whole lot hotter. So you know you need to break up off that. And he tried to see if they being disrespectful.
Yeah, you know how these youngsters are, man. They be trying to like be a little, you know.
Now, what's the worst case? Hey, I got a question for you again, GSE1. What's the worst case scenario? Somebody sitting on that transformer?
Electric shock, some type of burn, like if you get if that transformer like explode or something, like you might it could get bad for you. You might end up in medical sitting on there.
Yeah, man.
Oh, I tell you what. Check this out, man. Like we normally do things because of something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
So how many people you guys have seen or heard of that transfer blew up on their ass?
Yeah, we electricians. We go. I want
to know how many times in your neighbor career had that transformer blew up on somebody's ass, man.
How many times have a DC man used a P100?
all the time. We
In the
do
actual
maintenance on that
academy.
shit.
You talking about maintenance in the actual
We gotta
academy,
do
man.
maintenance on that shit, man.
Hey,
But
never grabbed no damn P100.
I would
But
say
I
the
already
numbers
told
is low
you.
though for the P100, not for the P100, but for the transformer blowing
Transformer.
up because
Yeah.
people know not to sit on it. So that's probably why the numbers is
Yeah.
low for that.
Now here go a thing though. We watch videos about safety, and in them videos about safety, they show people get shocked
That-
by transformers.
Yeah, that
I
one
ain't never
that
seen a
happened. That
video of somebody using a P100.
Hey, they've been using that same 1930 video about that transformer going off, man. It's the same one, man.
Somebody gets shocked.
1930.
Somebody gets shocked, man. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm here to clear. Hey, but I'm here to clear the air though. It's nothing about sitting on the P100 case. It's just one of those things where people just fucking want to mess with somebody. I'm assuming, but ain't nothing written so you can't sit on it.
They hit me hard, man. They said my boots looked
man.
a little dusty. They said,
oh man, they
said
really
my
was
boots
going in,
dusty.
man.
Yeah, and I've been saying I need to get the tan boots, man. You know, I didn't. You know,
it's
yeah, I gotta get.
I gotta
them,
get
man.
some too.
I
Man.
gotta be honest, man. You know, I didn't put a coat on them. You know, since from when I started the class, you know, I failed to put a coat on them, so they was a little, you know, they was a little
dusty.
crispy. Yeah, they was a little crispy. I needed to.
Hey, Damo, I ready to ask you, man. I think I already know the answer. To you at your command, you the regional dapper?
No, I'm not a dapper.
Okay.
I'm the ADCO, so it's the Alcohol and Drug Control Officer. So it's DAPAs and UPCs, and I just, you know, inspect the programs. In all the correspondences, I track the DARs and everything like that. The good thing about the new instruction is they added a bunch of op guides to everything, like how to use everything, the job of the DAPA, the job of the UPC, and the job of the ADCO. So if you are listening and you are a DAPA, make sure you're in communication with your ADCO and make sure that y'all kind of like, it's help out there. You know, that was a big thing in the class. Like a lot of the DAPAs didn't even know who their ADCO was. You know what I'm saying? They didn't even know.
Yeah.
You know, of course, all my DAPAs know
Yeah.
me. Man.
I was the only reason why I'm bringing that up, man, is because you've been inspecting these guys for a while now. You just went to school.
Yeah. I guess that was a joke. He's like, he's trying to be funny. He's trying to be funny. No, the class. So I like honestly, I've been in this class. I had a seat in this class since my first month at the command. So I came in. That's another thing. I came in like pretty much we were like the tail end of that wave of COVID before they told us to take our mask off. Then in like 5 days we had to put it back on. We was at the tail end of that wave, and the class is like super booked. So I wound up getting one in VA Beach for now. So as long as you get the class in like 6 months, it's like for ADCO it's 6 months. For DAPA is 90 days, but for ADCO is like 6 months. So I was I was lined up and it's backed up and everybody OpNav, you know, all the big wigs and OpNav and stuff, you know, they know what's going on, stuff like that. So thanks, Damon. I appreciate you bringing that up.
No problem, man. Just checking.
Hey,
it. Just checking.
So what's going on, GSE1? I know you made board, right? Right?
Congratulations.
That's good stuff, man. Congrats, man.
Appreciate that.
And what's on that shirt right there? World Series champs, man.
Oh yeah, this 2016 Chicago Cup. That was a big deal,
man. Yeah,
I happened to be in the city for that one because I was school very late. So I got to be in the city for that one. That was good. That was a big celebration.
Yeah.
I bet.
Hey, so
that was some years too, right? That was some years, right?
Oh, between championships,
8 years like that.
Yeah.
Oh, man, yo,
crazy.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. How them bulls looking all right too, though, ain't they? Nah.
No, we got the Bucks in the first round, and I know what time it is.
Yeah, but I tell you what though, man. Like if any team that can be out there to compete, it'll be the Bulls against Milwaukee though, because of the fact they do got some players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just, I mean, I just think Milwaukee might be a little too much for them.
We ain't got enough for Giannis, man. I know that.
Nah. But ain't nobody got enough for Giannis.
I'll be happy if we just don't get swept. Like, this ain't a good matchup at all.
Yeah. But ain't nobody got nothing for Giannis. Ain't nobody got nothing for him.
Yeah, you keep saying that.
I mean, it's some team. I think it's some teams that could slow him down. We just not one of them. But he can't be stopped. But you got a couple teams that could scheme, like how Miami did a couple. How they basically whenever he got the ball, they kind of backed up and then collapsed, go to the paint. Yeah, we don't got none.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
Yeah,
how you
I
liking
agree.
this?
You ain't have to say that. You ain't have to say that.
I
Man.
disagree, bro. I disagree.
All right, so let's get right to it. Let's get right to it, man. This $25,000. It's a big topic.
Man.
It's a big topic, man. This $25,000 for Now, did anybody read this? Like the whole thing?
I did.
I
I
did.
did. I read
I
it.
didn't.
All right, so talk about it. Well, talk about it. Well, like what's the deal?
So from what I saw, it was saying, and I thought like that this was normally they give you this amount, this 25,000 is up to, like you could get up to this, but from what I saw, that was the minimum. Like that's the bar. So that was the
Yeah.
first thing that made me go
Yeah.
like, oh, they got a minimum, and I think it was up to like 35, like for certain rates or something like that. But it was just basically from what I could see is just centered around retention. Like they trying to get people in, and that's a good tool. That 25, that's gonna help them get the numbers up. So I mean, it just, I mean, it was, to me, it wasn't a lot to take away from it. Just the fact that there was a minimum um of 25K for people, and then I tried to see if it was like if anybody was just eligible for, like anybody coming in, like, or if it was just specific rates, and it wasn't even rate specific. It was just like, yo, if you join in 25K,
Yeah.
I don't think we
Yeah.
ever seen nothing like that.
It looked like
Yeah.
the 50K is was rate specific, right? The 50.
Yes,
I'm
that
looking
was
at it
rate
right
There's
now.
certain rates
Yeah.
for 50K. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
you put
it-
a time limit on it too, though, right?
June
I think you
3rd.
put a time.
June
June
3rd.
3rd.
Yeah. So Top. I hate to bring. We probably gonna have a real conversation about Top Gun today, but so because Top Gun comes out the 27th, so then June 3rd, this initiative stops. So I think they lined it up right with Top Gun. But we probably have a real conversation about that later. So this
I wanted to talk about this 25K a little bit though. This money real quick, man. Is
hey, let me ask you a question first though before you start. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Do you
Go
think
ahead.
NC1 knew about this when we talked to her?
I'm gonna say if she did know about it, that'd have been a good way to lead into the conversation, because we was having a conversation like that, and she even brought up how hard it was to get recruits in. So that'd have been a good segue for her to bring that up. So I don't know if she knew or not.
I don't think
man.
she knew, man. It's fucked up. I think the news dropped like the day after we talked to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm listening to you. What you got?
Yeah, so I think though this is gonna really make it easy to sell though, man. When you go in on certain neighborhoods, man, like neighborhoods some of us grew up in, and it ain't a lot going on, and you start talking about $25,000 and $50,000, man. Like we talking about, you gonna at least get my attention when you bring up that type of money.
Yeah.
And so I think most definitely it's gonna help them out. But man, I never seen nothing like this, man. Like I'm talking about, you telling me like my son, before he came in, man, he scored like an 82. It wasn't no jobs on there that he couldn't get. They want him to be a nuke. They want him to be all this different stuff, as long as he make the criteria on them scores or whatever. And he was making them all. And I was thinking, man, well, a second, boy, if you had this a couple months, you know what I mean? Waited a couple more months, man, and this would have came out. You know what I mean? You could have made out. But yeah, man, that's a good deal. And I was telling my daughter, boy, when she was talking about going doing this and doing that. I said, man, girl, if they offer you 50,000, you better jump on that. Jump on that 50,000. But yeah, man. Another thing is that I can't think that's where we at right now, though, man. It's hard for me to believe that we can't get enough people into the Navy.
Yeah.
Right? Like we can't.
You said it's hard to believe that?
Yeah, it's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, man.
Why?
It's hard to believe.
Why?
So my point is, when I say it's hard to believe, is that we talking about people all over the world joining. We ain't asking for freaking 1 million people to be in the Navy, right? We have a certain number of people getting in, people getting out. I can't believe we can't keep those numbers. Like I ain't talking about like if I'm in one location. If you telling me we can't meet those numbers, if this recruit can't get 2 or 3 people in, right, in his whole quarter or whatever he got going on from recruiting, I don't know the numbers, so I'm throwing it out there. So don't be mad at me, recruiters. But whatever their numbers are, right? You telling me we can't meet those numbers now?
I mean, so we got
to give $50,000 to meet those quotas.
So I got a lot of thoughts about this, but I'm gonna give you some quick thoughts just to refute what you're saying. Like, we've had completely new careers open up in the last 5 years, right? Completely new careers that ain't never happened before. As people become millionaires off of YouTube, millionaires off of TikTok, millionaires off of Twitch, gaming and stuff like that. So like, whereas a young person from one of these areas you talk about, wherever, would be like, all right, I need to, go to the military. I want to get college, because not everybody joined for red, white, blue, bald eagle, you know what I'm saying? Like, honor, courage, commitment stuff. Some people join for college money, stuff like that, right? But we've had completely new careers get forged, like social media influencers. It's people making money watching people play video games on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? That's a much easier route than the Navy. You know what I mean? So you don't know what?
Even those guys who make the TikTok videos and make all that stuff, man, hey, they ain't anybody ain't making that money though. Some of these kids are very creative on what they doing and how they doing it, right? So it ain't like they automatically can just go in that field and make money on that field. You know what I mean? So
they pursuing it.
I mean, that's true.
You talk about, that's like saying that, like, only the elite become NBA, stars, or NBA players, or football, whatever, professional athletes. You still got hundreds of thousands of people pursuing it until they find out that they didn't become it. And that's those early years. That's your 20 through 24, however old you are before you 18 through, teen through whatever. Those same years of the people that we trying to attract with this $25,000. Yeah, but that's just one point, though. I don't want to go too crazy yet on that, and I'm sure GSE1 got something to add to that. But that's just one point. It's more careers. Like, I got nephews now in high school saying that, hey, I want to be a YouTuber. Like, this the career that they want to do. So now it's like, all right, so how are we? And even with giving away 25, that might not even, like, it's probably other ways that we need to, like, entice some of these YouTubers, like these streamers and Twitch. It's a whole different world out there, man, when it comes to recruiting. It ain't that many people that's like, I'm asked out. And it's not everybody that joined the military that's like asked out. But it's not that many people like, I'm asked out, so I went to a recruiting station. But it was times in our history that, like, people was like, a couple stories, where it's like, it was either jail or the military, or it was people like, I ain't know what else to do, so I went to a recruiting station. Now, if you don't know what else to do, man, buy a mic, buy a laptop, get a light, start making some content, find a way to make money making that content. So it's not like, what I'm saying is, it ain't the first option. Now, I don't know what you got on. You got anything on that one, GSE1?
I mean, you pretty much hit it on the head. Like, there's new career paths and opportunities for people. And then you said something too, Damon, that was pretty crucial too, is these kids are creative. Like, and when you bring up the military, that I think to a lot of people at this point, that seems extreme. And because they are creative, it's like, there's so many more other avenues that they could go to before military. It might be like way down a little. I just don't see why that would be high now, where all these opportunities they have. And then you talk about 25K. I mean, let's be real. I know people, and they live in, in the trenches, and they living in, some of these places that's rough, but they getting 20 off the PPP and stuff like that. People scamming, people boosting, like, people, people are figuring out ways to, like, get it done. And I just think that people don't, I just don't think that it's a high priority. Like, it's other ways that I think people see that they can make things happen. So
yeah, but I just want to add one more thing. I don't really think it's about getting recruits in. I think it's about getting them in to replace, because these sailors are getting out at a high clip now, right? You know what I mean? At a high clip. And then one of these guys on the ship asked me, say, man, Senior, how did you do just like last ship? Say, hey, Senior, what's going on? And I told him, I said, because your opportunity is greater than mine. No, Damo, Senior just asked me this. I know what you're thinking.
A sailor asks you that every ship you go.
Yes,
hey, for the listeners, I want the listeners to know I recognize it. A sailor asked David this every ship he
Almost
go.
every ship, I'm getting asked,
and
how do
tell
I
y'all the
say
story?
Yes, I'm gonna tell you, but this different sailor story, man. I gotta tell it. Hey, every story I gotta tell it, man. I gotta put it out there, man. This sailor asked me, like, senior, hey, how you stay in for 20? You say how? At first, he asked me how long I've been in. I said 23 years. Damn, how you stay in 23 years? And I said, I'm not telling you to stay in 23 years. You know what I mean? My circumstances was different than your circumstances. You know what I mean? I told him, I said, man, you guys got school, you guys got freaking so much stuff that you could do that I couldn't do when I came in. So they like you said, Jesse, when the opportunities that these kids got now is not keeping them in. They ready to get out. Like ready to get out. So I think this bonus is more not that we can't get the numbers in, it's more towards trying to replace the numbers that's leaving. You know, because I think a lot of people are getting out, man, their first term. And the reason why they get out their first term is because these damn ship schedules, man. These kids ain't used to this shit, man. They gone away from home, you know, for a long period of time at a time, you know, stuff. So I think it's more about that, man, than trying to them meet their quotas.
Damn, yo, you said a lot, but I'm still on that first point, right? That first point about how it, you know, it's hard. It would be hard for somebody to understand, you know, why we, you know, because here's another point about this. In the digital world that we live in now, we got more people creating. So when I joined the Navy, I didn't know what was on the other side of, you know, joining the Navy outside of whatever stories I got from my uncle and my aunt. You know what I'm saying? But those stories intrigued me or whatever. I was intrigued by, you know, whatever they had. But when I joined the Navy, I didn't have nobody come back with, you know, no data. Like, yo, this gonna happen, this gonna happen. Nowadays, you got people like Baby Goat, you know, you got podcasts, you got different people, YouTubers and stuff, like kind of like separating some of that like mystique. You know, like somebody, if they interested in joining the military now, I mean, you had the show, the Carrier Show. It's a bunch of stuff. So if somebody interested in joining the military now, outside of all the war stories and the like, you know, the Gus and Glory stuff, you got people breaking it down like at a real level, you know. And then sometimes if you just give straight disgruntled people the ability to make content, you only going to see that one side. You know what I'm saying? So you might not. So that's another, you know, then also on top of that, you got social media. So if your friend on social media and your friend is always complaining about, you know, the ship or I can't wait to get out and stuff like that, you're going to see all that. You know what I'm saying? So again, the lines is kind of like, they not as blurry no more. So some people kind of have an idea about what they about to get into. So social media kind of opened that up a whole lot. It opened the world up, really. You know, but what was your other point that you were saying? Oh, you were saying like you don't think it's as much to get them in as it is to replace the sellers. So that brings us to
what else?
That's what you said. That's what you were saying. Like you don't think it's as much just for assimilation, but as it is to just be replacing sellers that's leaving, right?
Yeah.
Right. You with us, GSE1?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right. So because my thought, I know, like, what's the seller saying? Are you hearing anything on the side of the sellers about this 25,000? Because I got something I think they saying, and I think it's speaking of what Damon's saying, but I want to know if you heard anything on your side.
I mean, I think so far it's just that the number is like, man, 25,000. Like, I wish they was doing that when I joined. That's pretty much what I'm hearing. Like, it ain't a lot of like people not really saying anything about the number, but it's just like, man, like I wish this was a thing when I joined. That's all I'm really.
So I'm hearing the sellers saying, "Why don't y'all give me the 25? I'll stay in.
Okay,
give me the 25 to stay in." You know what I'm saying? Like, or give the 25 to some of us that's in. You know, and that's what I'm hearing. I got my own thoughts, and I'm gonna go over them, but that's what I'm hearing. So I'm wondering if that's what you're hearing too, Damon.
Well, I'm at a senior command, so I don't see. I'm the only time I go see the youngsters when I'm on the ship. But from the people that I'm working with now, man, that's kind of one of the things which I don't want to like jump the gun, but that's one thing we're talking about, right? Why senior people ain't getting, getting any cheese, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? Trying to, I mean, things like that. So that's where what I'm hearing anyway from my side.
Yeah, senior people it would probably behoove. I don't even want to say that word because the dude just joked about it. But it'll probably behoove you to pay because they can actually get out and be attractive to like a potential employer, right? Yeah. But then on the other hand, you got some senior people that's just kind of in, right? They not gonna get out no matter what. You know what I'm saying? You don't got to get them no extra 25 grand. They didn't work themselves into like a comfortable position that they not gonna get out. They might complain that they not getting,
man.
They might complain that they not getting 25, but they not gonna get out. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, the reason why I bring that up, man, is like I remember that time we were talking about changing the rates and changing the job titles and all this type of stuff because we want to be equivalent to what civilian world was doing, right?
Yeah.
Civilian world is freaking giving bonuses. Civilian world is giving all type of this stuff to senior people, somebody who's been doing a job and doing it at a high level for a long time, and they getting this stuff, right? So that's kind of where I was at why senior people, you know, don't get anything or whatever.
How you know that?
You right, and that's true. Like,
how do I know?
You got senior execs and stuff in these different companies they are getting the bonuses, but the thing is, those people are being compensated because, oh, I'm over here, I'm a high ranking exec at Amazon, but if you don't come off the bread, I could go over here at Apple, or I could go over here at this company or that company. Like, you always got to worry about somebody stealing away your top execs and your top people if they don't feel that they are needed or respected or compensated correctly. The Navy don't got to worry about that. Like, what's the alternative to this? Like, they don't have to. Like, they know they got us. They know they got you after a certain point. So why would I give you money? Where you going?
That's true.
You're gonna be here, man. You're getting that healthcare, man. You're getting that BAS. You're getting that BAS. Get that BAS. Go get your teeth.
Let's go.
Go get your teeth checked out, man. Shut up.
For real.
Hey, so look, I'm gonna go through some of this article though, just to kind of see if there's any other points that we kind of want to hit. It says the Navy announced, and this was from April 8th, right? So we kind of late, but it says the Navy announced Thursday that it's offering $25,000 signing bonus to recruits for any rate as long as they're willing to ship off the boot camp before summer, right? The Sea Service in the press release said the bonus applies to anyone who enlists active duty and is willing to start boot camp between April and June, right? And then we know that is June 3rd. It says the Navy is the only branch currently offering this high of an enlistment bonus for any new enlistee. Damn, that's some competitive talk right there. That's like Burger King, Wendy's. It says the press release adds that the bonus will stack with other recruitment incentives that target specific specialties. As a result, the enlistment bonus could be as high as $50,000. Navy recruits who have recently signed up but aren't shipping out until the July to September timeframe can opt to move up their departure and cash in as well. So damn, if you already signed up before this news came out,
easy day.
You could push yourself forward up and then still get that 25. Right. It says a recent Rand Corp study showed that while the pandemic made it harder for military services to recruit new personnel, the Army, Navy, and Air Force all managed to increase the number of troops in their ranks in 2020 compared to the year before. In 2021, the Air Force said it hit its recruiting target for the first time in 5 years. Right. So despite the data, the Navy is joining the Army and offering eye-widening sums of money to get new recruits. Its offer comes just days after the Navy said in its latest budget request to Congress that it expects to see a decrease in active duty personnel over the next 5 years, right? According to documents released, I know this kind of long, but according to documents released at the end of March, the Navy, which currently has just under 347,000 sailors, that's really not a lot, man, anticipates having 340,900 by fiscal year 2026. In last year's budget, the service told Congress it's expected to have 345,700 by that time. Those same documents also predicted a significant dip in reserve numbers over the next several years, right? So we expect to have 10,000 fewer sailors in a reserve. And then it says the Army started offering 50,000 in January, though its website notes that a recruit would need to combine several bonuses on offer for shipping out quickly, having in-demand skills, and following certain career paths to hit the high top figure. Still is more than double what was allotted at the peak of post 9/11 wars. So I'm going to ask this question. We don't get too much into this, so I don't want to get too much into this, but I do want to ask both of y'all. Do y'all think this got more to do with do y'all think this has more to do with just us needing people? Like this might have something to do with us being prepared for anything?
No, and I say no to it, man, because I think we are around the numbers we've been having for it. Around that 300 to 400. That's around the numbers we've been had for a while. Um, and I'm not surprised in a dip either. And a dip comes from what you guys just brought up earlier, man. These kids they do other things now, man. So I think that has something to do with it. And I think it's gonna continue to dip a little bit too, man. I think after a while, man, I wouldn't be surprised to be over 100,000 giving it to get recruits in, man. But I think that's more about it. I think you guys hit it on the head when you guys said it's more things out there for people to do.
What'd you think?
Can you ask that again?
Yeah. So my question was, is it anything ulterior outside of just needing more people? Like, are we getting prepared for something?
I do. I mean, I think we all know that there's more manning needed, more people needed. But I do think we are getting prepared for something. I do think that it's been a lot of tension rising with like other countries, and things are getting a lot harder to control, I think, from like on our end as they used to be. And I think
Mhm.
this is like us gearing up for something potentially coming down the line. That's what I think. I think we're getting ready for if there is conflict elsewhere in the world. Like I think that's
Yeah. Now, if I could, and I hate to do this because I don't even do this in my personal life, but if I could offer a little bit of advice, my advice would be for us to like put some money into our training programs too. Like, let's train people the right way. Let's train people the right
100%.
way using like up to date like material. I got people at the training command saying they going off of old instructions. You know what I mean? And that might not be an all the way around the board thing. I don't want no Master Chiefs or CMC listening like, oh, what is he saying? But I got people telling me, and if you're a Master Chief, you got a question about that, you could call me. I'll tell you offline. But I got people telling me that, we've been training to, at least, well, within the last like 5 months, we've been training the out of date material. You know what I'm saying? Let's get these people trained up right, man.
Well, and you're right, man. You hit it right on. And then on top of that, man, I just sailors talk about also is not hands on either, man. A lot of stuff they do is not hands on. So the stuff they doing, they seeing it for the first time is when they get to the ship. And yes, we doing OJT, and yes, we got that training. We also got a schedule to keep too. So the training ain't as good as it would be if you was training them in A school and train them here because and I know people say, oh, they see the equipment out there, they doing maintenance on the equipment. I'm telling you, man, you don't have that LPO or that works in a soup over people's shoulders to train them the right way now because they got other things they got to do. It's so much shit right now. And the training, the first thing that get hacked and get thrown in the closet is fucking training.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
It's the first thing.
Yeah, and then it's like, when I went to the schools and like a junior seller or somebody could correct me. But when I went to the schools, it's like labs, right? So you do a lab, but it's never nobody coming up to you like, let's say you a GSM and you messing, you doing cyclos or something. First of all, it was one of them on a computer, which I thought was just weird anyway. Like, what was you doing cyclos on a computer for? But I didn't think it was weird until I got to a ship. I'm like, oh shit, we did this on a computer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the thing we did on a computer. Like, but you do a lab, you do it like one day, and it's like, yo, it's nobody there. Like, yo, you're gonna be doing this every night. Like, you're gonna be doing like, and even if somebody say it, it's like, yo, drain that in. We need to start draining that in. People like, yo, this is something you're gonna be doing every week. You're gonna be doing this every time this happen, every time this happen, every time this happen, and you need to physically be in front of those trainers, like. At least, in my opinion, you're a GSE1, like, but in my opinion, I think a seller should need to be at least in front of those trainers at least 5 times when they throughout the period of A school, vice the one computer-based training and maybe one lab, or if you maybe fail and need to remediate like another lab or something like that. So I don't know what your opinion is about like just like hands-on training, but I think we need more before we go to a ship.
Oh, most definitely. I agree with that.
Agreed.
Okay, yeah,
but I tell you also, man, I feel like these sailors should be coming to the ship knowing about some of these programs already, like tag out. We shouldn't be teaching that much on tag outs, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
it's
but
a
we're
tag
not
out
though. But we should be.
It's a tag out chapter.
It is, but I'm saying, dude. I mean, I don't know what you guys have witnessed, but it's damn near like it's brand new when they get to the ship.
It's khaki.
About tag
it's
out.
khaki. That's fucking tag up too. A tag out up too.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I agree with that too.
I mean, now I agree with you, but again, like we need to actually tag, like get a bullshit light, like get like a dumb light or something, right? And actually have somebody tag out that dumb light in school and see what happens when you tag it out and do that like every day. Like we do tag out down for engineers, we do tag out every day, multiple times a day, right? If I'm an engineer and I'm going to A school, I should not just do like chapter 7 or whatever of Beckett is, right? The tag out chapter, and that's it, and tag one thing out. When I'm doing training for anything I do, we need to do the tag out first, because that's normally what we're going to be doing, at work. We're going to be tagging out whatever we do, before we do it or whatever like that. And then we just need to like, we need to every now and then, if we got training that good, every now and then we need to kind of like roll khaki and other people through back to training too. So
we kind of do though, right? Don't we suppose it's like training like quarterly and all that stuff? So we kind of do, but and I'm not even saying like when they come out of A school and come out of school, they like polished and we ain't still doing, training with them. But I'm saying, man, I've been seeing like don't really know a whole lot about tag out, don't know a whole lot about, maintenance, even maintenance, man, like, it's crazy to me, man.
I'm a kind of give some credit where credit is due. I think the Navy is doing really good at like leadership training. Getting people kind of more familiar with like mental health, more familiar with like working, coexisting with peers, more familiar with talking to people the right way, changing up words. That whole new DAPA instruction is words that's trigger words taken out of it. I think we getting really good with that. We got like NLEC. We got so many different things right now where we training people on how to be leaders and stuff like that. But I think we focusing on that and forgetting about what you talking about. Tag out, maintenance, all that. Like you could not to knock GSEs, but we got GSE1 right here. But you throw a junior GSE in front of like a piece of their equipment and they can't do nothing with that. You know what I'm saying? They need some OJT. And we go to 9 Charlie for 10 days. It's a completely different thing every day. And some of that shit we not ever gonna do. Let's take that out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I think, why you bullshit, man? I think now, man, and I know GSE1 probably can hopefully agree with me on this. It's about time to start sending it to some kind of computer school, right? Man, it's so much stuff like computer. It's like, what in the world is this, man? Like, what's going on?
It's not just electricity or electronic theory at this point. Like, it's electronics. Like, everything is getting more computerized, or like, circuit cards and different. It's more like a ET world at this point, man.
Yeah.
It's not. It's a little bit different.
Yeah,
definitely.
And then y'all still dabble into the engines and the mechanic side of it too, right? Y'all kind of do a bit of both, right?
Right.
So anything else about this 25K that we didn't?
Man. We didn't beat that up, man.
Yeah.
We didn't beat that up.
For real?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's also offered to like people that like just got out. So if you just got out and you want to come back in,
get back in.
25,000. And I'm so here go my thoughts. Like, so I didn't offer these thoughts. I'm not mad at it, man. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not either. I think it's I think it's if it's a tool that you got and you could play it. Like, if it's gonna help the initiative to get more people in, let's go.
Yeah. I honestly think we might be 3 of. I was hoping one of us was, man, but I think we might be 3 of. I think we might be 3 of a few that ain't mad, because most people I know, they a little upset about it. They wondering how come they can't get it. And I never thought like that. I never been that kind of person. I don't think like that. I'm actually reaching out to people. I've actually reached out to a couple of people in my family. Like, hey, y'all know somebody that's trying to get in? They offering 25. The only thing I think about is who we getting in. You know what I'm saying? Like, who we start going 25, what's the intentions of now? Everybody got their own intentions, but it's like, is somebody's only intention this 25? like, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things I kind of think about is like, who are we accepting when we doing this? You know, and that's another reason why I want to talk to one of the one of the recruiters.
But I mean,
Yeah,
if
if
they
you could
in
get
for it,
people,
maybe.
if you could get people to get COVID shots for $100, you could get people that have no interest in the military in for $25K.
Right. Yeah. All
Like
right. So
that's you gonna get that.
so speaking about COVID, the nav admin.
Segue. You like that segue?
That was perfect,
All
man.
right,
That was
let's go.
perfect, man. You know, I think you got the notes. I think you got the notes in front of you or something.
Good-
Man. You know what I'm saying? My
Good
man got the
stuff.
notes.
Good stuff.
But is Damon ready though? Is David ready?
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, what's that? But this came from you. This came from you. So the vaccination refusal. This
Yeah.
came from you. So what are we
Yeah.
talking about? What's happening? Is it just the religious waiver? The people that got the religious waiver, they could stay in.
Well, I right now I think it's on hold though, right? So I don't think they really came out and said exactly. Hold on, give me a second, man.
So what are we gonna do in a second?
Dun-dun.
Damn, man, this was your topic, man.
Got to fill in an empty space now.
Yeah, the audience, the listeners, they just got
man.
quiet time.
Yeah, they got some quiet
time, man. They turned it up. They turned the pod off right now, man.
Yeah, man. I wrote that one in the last time though. I ain't writing it.
Hey, listeners, man. Before you turn the pod off, man, I just want you to know that we got some merch coming. We got some new T-shirts coming. I think everybody saw the design. It's coming. Buy it one size higher than the size you want it to be. So it fits true to size. So if you are extra large, and if you are extra large and you want it to be loose, get a double X. If you want it to fit tight, because you got you muscular or whatever like that, go ahead and get your extra large. Let that thing fit tight. But if you kind of want to hide something like I do, hit that double X. Same way for everybody else. Small is small. So if you want it a little loose, get a medium or whatever like that. But we definitely got the Def to PowerPoint shirts coming. So we definitely got the Def to PowerPoint shirts coming. Hey, so how's the command over there, GSE1? How's how you kind of not your command, but how are you adjusting to because you just got out of ship life. That's arduous, right?
Oh yeah.
So how you adjusting to short duty?
It's a little bit weird, honestly. It feel a lot different because you used to the pace of being on the ship, and then now you kind of all right, what am I supposed to be? You kind of you feel out of place. What am I supposed to be doing? And then me, I don't know if you know, but I'm still not even checked in yet. So I kind of got a
you just
4-year
left.
short duty almost. I had to go through the pipeline to actually do 2M because I had no 2M experience. So I check in next month. But I like it. It's a good skill. It's just it's a lot of turnover right now. A lot of people that's typical though. A lot of people are leaving at the same time, and then along with retention, quite a few of the people are getting out. So it's about to get real interesting real fast. But the school overall is a pretty good school. It's a good skill. Um, and I'm happy to get it, and I think it would be dope for anybody who want to get it. It's definitely a good school.
Now, the only thing you're going to be dealing with junior sellers with is when it comes to just giving them training in class, or do you have junior sellers that work with you?
Nobody works for me. It's just it's a small command already anyway, or division I should say. We got about I think 5 civilians, and it's maybe 10 to 12 of us. It's a really, so it's not a lot of us. So I don't have anybody that work with or for me, but with me rather. But yeah, I just deal with people in the classroom. So that's different too. Not having like people that work for you, or it's a different dynamic than being on the ship.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna miss that. I'm sure you're gonna miss having sellers.
I do miss that part of it. That's the one of the cool things about being on the ship is it's the camaraderie. Like it's like you like a family with the people you work with, whether in division or department, whatever, or even outside. But on shore duty, it's like, all right, it's time. Like, all right, you go home, you go your way, I go my way, and whenever I see you, and it's probably gonna be here at work. But it's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah. Now, if you make chief though, you might go back to a ship, huh?
That's possible. Very
Are you
possible. So
you
we'll
ready
see.
for
It's
that?
I gotta be. I gotta be. And I just it's funny you say that because I just brought that up today because my wife, she don't know nothing about the Navy, but I brought that up today that that's a possibility if I pick up because she been like, man, I hope you make it, da 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 da. But then like when I like slid that in there, she was just like, uh, what? You could go back to a ship already?
Yeah.
Her whole sentiment about me making chief kind of changed. It was kind of like, nah, you good as first class. Like you good. Like it just completely changed. Like so she ain't ready for that. But but yeah, I gotta be because I know it's a possibility, especially since it's a few of us that's up for it too, and a few of us that I feel like got a good chance to make it. They ain't gonna keep all chiefs in the schoolhouse. Like I
Yeah.
mean, you gotta have some first and second classes. So um yeah,
So
we'll see.
so God got a funny sense of humor, right? And some of this stuff we wasn't supposed to go to, but since me and you talking, real quick, I'm gonna ask you a couple of these questions. Hey, Damon, I wouldn't worry about it right now because it's a lot. You know what I'm saying? That's nav admin 28321.
Yeah.
And it's a lot. Like it's a lot, and you know it's better the listeners wait for us to like deliver a responsible message than than look at you read this instruction
Nah, he looked focused.
on
I'm
the
not
camera
even trying to
screen.
look at him. Like
That ain't a good, yeah, yeah. But
that, yo,
that's
that,
gonna be on the
I'm
YouTube.
in
That's
that.
like that's gonna be like that's gonna be on the YouTube. Like
I am in that sucker too, man.
all they gonna see is you leaning in, like
nah,
on the
facts,
YouTube.
yeah.
So we good. Like, but hey, like read that 28321. And then we were supposed to talk about this before. I think that's why we probably not all the way ready for it.
Before we move to
But
that,
we'll talk. We'll talk to you guys about it. But what I was saying was for GSE1, man. I don't know if you remember this one. If anybody is listening, we were on the same ship together. We did deployments and stuff together, stuff like that. But I was saying like God got a funny sense of humor. And we talked about this before. But you actually a rare case because you actually declined taking the exam one year, right?
Mm-hmm.
You declined taking the exam, right?
A
And
lot of pushback for that too.
yeah, a lot of people disagree with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm more like we talk about on a podcast all the time. I'm somebody that no matter what, and I mean, you actually are probably proof of it. But I'm one of them people that no matter what somebody decision is, supportive of that decision that the person makes. And it might not be the best thing to some people, you know what I'm saying? But for me, it's the best thing because I feel like everybody is in control of their life or whatever like that. And whatever decision that it is, my job after you make your decision in your life, my job is to support you to the best way that I know possible, you know. And I know some people might think differently. Some people might think, no, I would convince him to do this or convince him to do that. That's just not who I am as a person, right? But what I wanted to say was, you declined taking the exam, and what was the reason why you declined taking the exam?
So there was a couple different reasons. The main one was, well, it was the timing. Like at this point, me and my wife were expecting our first kid,
Uh-huh.
and if I would have taken it and made it at that time, like going through the season, like and just having a kid and possibly getting realigned and having to like move and transition, like with that happening, it like that, like I didn't like that time. I didn't think it would be a good time, and then also I didn't want to possibly have to leave that situation, like and not get a chance to try to get my EL letter. Like it was a few different things, and I didn't, and I think it was more of a slap in the face to people because I didn't talk about it and I didn't let anybody know that planning I was planning on not taking it, but I didn't think that most people would understand like where I was coming from. They would just look at it as like, oh, like it's an opportunity. Like, why would you? And that's what it was. Like once people found out that I wasn't taking it, it was like, oh, why? Like, it was like, see, that's why I didn't say nothing because I knew this was the reaction I was gonna get. But yeah, I had things going on, and I just didn't want to. I didn't want to make it at that time. I did.
So here's a, and in my opinion, that should be a person's choice. And I'm sure, Damon, you probably disagree with some of this stuff, right? And I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? And I'm anxious to hear, But my second part of this, why I say like God got a crazy sense of humor, was because I remember like the biggest part that we talked about was that your GSEs, they got a higher percentage at, making chief than others. And you didn't want to get caught up in if I make chief and I got this new baby, I'm gonna have to go through the season and all of that. But so have you announced, I don't know, can I ask this question? Like,
Sure, go for it.
Because what's going on with you right now?
Same
you made
situation.
board.
Same situation.
You made board and you got another baby coming, right?
Yeah, we expecting another one, and it's kind of like the timing again. Like,
yeah. So that shit was gonna tag your ass no matter what.
Yeah, I guess so.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah. Congrats on just life, man. A beautiful family, like thus far, and then everything that's coming your way. But hey, Damon, what's your thoughts on that? Like, so pretty much, right? I don't know how you would look at that. So you get a seller come up to you, first class, that's doing great, right? Because it's another part of this, right? And this wasn't even going to be a GSE1 like episode, but it is another part that I want to talk about because some sellers might be dealing with this too. So you get a seller come up to you, hey, it's my personal choice. And I remember we had this conversation outside of CCS, like right before watch or after watch or something. I think it was after watch before breakfast. But it's like, I'm not going to take the test. I'm not going to take the exam. And then it's like, I don't even know if I asked why on the first hit. Like I might have came back and asked why, but I'm not going to take the exam. Why? Because I got a baby coming and boom, boom, boom. Now in my head, my thoughts is, well, you could do all this at the same time. But it's like, if it's your personal choice not to go, that's your personal choice. But what was your thoughts on that one? What would your response been to that one? And we talked about GSE1 and everything that he was doing at the time.
Yeah. And I remember all this. Trust me, I remember all this going down.
Uh-huh.
So my first thought was like, man, this shit like 100% shit. Get it. You know what I mean? That's my first thought. Well, let's find a way to get it. Then I was thinking maybe this is a quick response for him, but obviously he was been talking about this for a while. He already, been talking about this. Ain't nothing he just came up with real quick. You know what I mean? So once I kind of found that out, and then after knowing McPherson, hey, when he make his decision, that's his decision, man. He ain't the type of guy he'd be, I'm gonna go this way, I'm gonna go that way. I knew when he said what he said, he was gonna do what he wanted. He was gonna do it. I mean, how he planned or whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
But first, I had a question though. Do you have any regrets for it?
No, I don't regret it because I did end up staying there, and coming out of that, I did get a chance to get my EL board and get through that and get the letter. And if I would, like you said, it was pretty high. Chances are I would have picked up, and then if I'm leaving, that opportunity wouldn't have been there. Then I got the opportunity to pick my own orders, like kind of control my own destiny a little bit. So it wasn't just that; it was like a few things coupled with that, and it just seemed like that wasn't the time. And it's like I don't regret it, because like I said, I got a cool short duty out of it, and I got even though that could change if I pick up two, but at least I got a chance to get into this, and I got a chance to get that EL letter that I really wanted. So and I might not have got that if I would have took it and made it. So I don't regret it.
Yeah.
And congrats on that EL letter. Now you did have a regret somewhere in one of these stories, right? And that's because me and you talked so much. I remember this part, right? So all right, so we get past this exam, right? We get past the exam stuff, right? At some point, GSE1 was teetering with the idea of getting out, right? He was teetering with the idea of getting out and made what I would call the mistake that a lot of sellers make. And somehow those thoughts went public before his complete decision was made, right? Right, you with me, Damon?
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right,
I'm with you.
I look. You look threatening right now, and I feel threatened. Right? So, I feel threatened.
I'm tracking.
Yeah. So he was like, "Yo, I'm thinking about getting out." Same thing. He came to me. He talked to me at some point, right? And he was like, "Hey, Chief, I'm probably, getting out. I don't know if I was the first person or whatever, but it was a conversation we had. Hey, I'm probably gonna get out. I did the same thing I always do. Okay. Well, I think I asked why. I might ask you why, like why, why. And then he gave me his reasons, as long as, and if like the reason makes sense, it makes sense. I've asked more questions to somebody who reason didn't make sense. But if your reason makes sense to who you are as a person and I know who you are, then I'm not going too hard on it. Right. Again, all my friends, all the listeners, talk to me, y'all might do it a different way, whatever. But other people knew too, right? Now the only reason why I bring up this whole part here is because it was kind of known, right? Because Eva was affected by that, right?
100%.
And that was known, right? It's not like I'm telling you this.
That was definitely known.
Yeah. And it didn't come from me, right? You found that out pretty much at the debrief, right?
Yes,
when everybody,
yes,
yeah, okay.
Yes.
All right. And Damon, his Eva was affected by that. So he was like, I think, man, you could probably talk more about this story than me. I think you was a higher ranking EP.
So
or you was an EP.
The cycle before, I was the number one MP. And
matter of fact, hey, I don't mean to cut you off. Let's go back to you getting a P. Can we go back there?
Yeah.
Because you had a P, right? So let's go back. Let's go back to the conversation. And this don't got shit to do with me, but it's sellers that listen, and I want them to kind of understand some stuff, and this might be motivation for some people. So you were getting P's, right? I think you might have got 1 or 2 P's. I don't remember, but we had a conversation. And in our conversation, you told me, and I thought this was the coolest shit I ever heard, man. And I learned a lot. I've learned a lot from GSE1, but I thought this was the coolest shit I ever heard. He told me this, Damon. He said, well, he wasn't mad about the P. He's like, most people you talk to, they get a P and they like mad. They like, I don't deserve this. I should be EP number 1. Mostly everybody, they should be EP number 1. He gets this P. He like, yo, I know that, like, I shouldn't, I'm not an EP. I know that. You know what I'm saying? And I understand. And stop me if ever I'm fucking this up, GC1. But I understand why I'm, boom, getting a P. And then what happened from there? You could jump in on that one. What happened from there?
So I got the welcome aboard P, like the new first class P or whatever.
Yeah,
which is pretty standard. Which is pretty standard in the Navy.
That's the WAP.
Yeah. So I got that. I got that, and I think the first one I got that was ranked. I think the first one I got ranked was a P as well, and I think that was when we first came to work with the EMs or whatever, GSEs, and you was my chief at the time, and you came to me and you was like, hey, now, I know you probably gonna feel some type of way about this. Like you was about to give me you was about to do damage control. You was about to put your red hat on. It was damage control time, and I was like, nah, it's cool.
I was about to pull the P100.
Yeah, you was about to put it on. It was about to be a DSAT training environment, but. Yeah. So you was like, let me talk to you first. And I was like, nah, we don't need to talk. Ain't nothing to talk about. And you was like, you kind of looked at me like, what you mean? Like, you know what you like. I know what you got. You know what you got, right? And I'm like, yeah. And you was like, you okay with that? And I'm like, I understand how this works, and I understand there's more stuff that I need to do. So and I just got to get to it. And then you kind of basically challenged me to essentially just to work my way up. And so it was like, all right, let's do it. Like that, like I was having a rough time in the beginning because we started, it was 8 first classes in MP. We was a pre-com. So you get that thing where like you top heavy, and now you got first classes that's having and I was one of the last ones to come. So I'm kind of forced to play a lower role than what I really am, but everybody can't be LPO. Everybody can't be. So I kind of just got trapped behind people. And so you was kind of saying that like, yo, like, and it was messing with me because I felt like I wasn't getting the chance and opportunity. And you kind of just challenged me like, yo, like, I think you could do like I think you not living up to everything you could do, and I'm challenging you to just like basically, you know, just I think you could do this A B C D, and it was like, all right, cool. Then after that, it was like, all right, FC, boom, PAC, boom, EDO, boom, first class association, boom. All right, let's do vice president this, let's do. So it was just like you challenged me to like that to do more, and that I wasn't like giving 100%, and I needed that. I needed that motivation, and like I needed somebody to just be like, yo, I see the situation you in and how you kind of ended up in a situation that wasn't advantageous for you to kind of shine, but like being stuck in other people's shadow or not getting opportunities or whatever. But you just gotta just just go for it anyway. And then that kind of like changed the rest of my time on the ship, and it kind of like everything kind of took off after that. So then I kind of end up, getting evals got a lot better. Like, got the quals. Like people finally started to, either everybody was picking up chief too, so that kind of helped. Like it kind of opened up for me to be able to like, take a bigger role and to kind of, get some responsibility. So that was that, but that speech was important for me, and it made a big difference on how the rest of my time on the ship went.
Now, I said that for one reason, right? But I like just to kind of connect what you just said to somebody that might be listening is like the field changes, right, Damon? So, for instance, right, if you could be that seller that's like that was in GSE1 position that's like just behind the line, right? Just it's a line of the next one, the next one, the next one, and you could be ninth in that line. Some people be ninth. Some people be ninth in that line though, and be like, "Yo, I'm behind on this line. I'm just not going to do anything because I can't win anyway, right?" They don't just get the stuff to like no, kind of like to like no acknowledgement, right? They don't just get the stuff. They just chill where they are, right? And then when that happens, especially in engineering, you see sellers that was more junior than you fly past you. You know what I'm saying? And then you be wondering why the more junior sellers flying past you. But it's like, yo, you stay waiting. You know what I'm saying? Where if you just start getting everything and like, yo, I'm not seeing that, I'm not seeing that. Like GSE1 said, people start making chief. And then that thing just changes. That field just changes. Now you like, damn, like I'm in front of the field. Like I'm a leader in this, group. So that's like my little advice to like some of the junior sellers that's listening. Just do it. Just do it now. Like it don't matter what it look like. Just do it now. Like natural order changes things. You know what I'm saying? If you're trying to rise to the top, whatever. But the biggest reason why I wanted to say that story was because when he got that P, he understood. It wasn't much of a fight. It's eval day or eval week. So it's a lot of broken hearts. It's a lot of people living in a fantasy world, to say the least. That's a lot of people that get what they deserve, but then it's a lot of people that get what they deserve and thought that they deserve more. That's just reality of it, right? People might get mad, but not everybody is it's some P sellers out there that don't know that.
I tell you what, man. I tell you, me personally, man, when if somebody came up to me and say, hey, I know I deserve what I got and I know why I got it, blah, blah, blah. I know I got something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Ain't no need to be delusional, man. You know what I mean? You know what you're doing. You know what kind of work you putting in and blah, blah, blah. You know all this stuff, but own that too, though. You know what I mean? Own that. So if that conversation, if I would have had that same conversation, man, my whole wheels would have started turning just like probably like yours was turning, Damo. Like, you got something there when somebody can own it and know what they need to do to get where they trying to go. So, I mean, that's good stuff, man. That's stuff I like to hear too, though.
Yeah. Now, like, yeah, let me speed it up. Like, so he knew that the P was his. He didn't fight it, didn't argue it. He accepted the challenge. He did what he had to do. You know what those gains going to do. You know that the field changes and all that. So boom, fast forward. Now we're at the debrief where GSE1 sitting in that bitch like, I know I'm an EP seller, right? That's where we at now. And we had the debrief where I'm sitting in that debrief like, I know that, because somehow the world works very crazy and I'm back to GSE chief again, like during this time, right? Because remember, y'all had a chief, and then like I'm filling in until y'all get another chief. So when there's a little bit of time, I'm back doing like administrative. I was doing y'all evals and stuff like that for a little bit. So we back at the debrief again, and I'm happy because all the first classes I'm up with, I'm like, yo, these dudes about to get good evals, you know, and you kind of have an idea what you send up will come out the mess, you know, it's like how much different can this change. And I didn't we didn't talk, right? I didn't tell GSE1 what he was getting or nothing like that. But when I get up there, so they so if it was this whole thing where it was like the people that was, I don't know if you remember this, but it was like the Chiefs was, well, he probably ain't know this side, but it's like the Chiefs were supposed to go up at the debriefs. Was you still there, Naaman?
I don't think so.
I don't think
no, you wasn't there.
I don't think so.
But it was this whole weird thing where it was like, I was supposed to debrief. It was some whole weird thing, and I don't feel like getting into it. However, at the end of it all, I'm strolling up late, you know, to the debriefs. Now, they already saw their evals before me and before they got debriefed by the captain. I'm strolling up. I got a smile. I got an ear-to-ear smile. You know what I'm saying? I'm
So
like,
you
yo,
know what time it is.
Yeah, I was like, yo, these dudes been killing it. They about to get what they deserve. I'm happy as hell. Like, I don't know if you ever saw that BMF show, or that BMF show with when Meech get that money and his pop be looking at that check. You know what I'm like? That's how I'm be looking at them evals. So I get up there and GSE1 don't look happy. Ian1 was up there too. Ian1 ain't look happy either. But this is a GSE1 story, right? So GSE1 don't look happy. So then I talk to some people. I ain't gonna get into that. And I'm like, what? You know, and I get kind of told last minute. So now I'm mad. You know what I'm saying? And then we get in a debrief. And a lot is unveiled in this debrief, man. It was a weird, a different type of debrief, right? But we get in the debrief and it's unveiled, and not to get into specifics, but GSE1 got an eval that I think everybody in the room knew that he shouldn't have got. And you remember why? Because I don't want to say it, because it's not like I'm divulging this information. You remember what was said
I remember
about
why. I remember why, and it was even annotated in the write-up, which was even crazier. Which that may affect me now. So, but it was essentially because I was getting out or considering getting out, and that's what it came down to. I mean,
hold. Can you say what was the verbiage?
So
what was the verbiage in
So in the verbiage, it was so the explanation was, hey, you're basically everybody in the room, you're an EP, but you may be getting out, so we don't want to waste the EP. That was what was said. But then obviously now, since I'm not getting the EP, now you have to justify why my eval isn't what it was before or better. So now you gotta kind of talk me down to justify why my eval is lower. So in the write-up, it literally said that it said that Sailor declined to take advancement exam in the write-up. That's the final line before the closing statement. And I was just like, I was just like, what? You put that in the write-up, but it was crazy. It was crazy. And then me seeing it for the first time, as I didn't even see the eval. I don't know what happened with the evals. They was late. People were still doing whatever they was doing. We never even I'm seeing it for the first time right there as I'm going into the CO's cabin. And I knew it was about to be some BS, because I saw Chang, and before I even saw it, he was like, yo, I think you he was like, I hope you don't feel bad or whatever. We all know who you are, and we know you're a. And he said that to me before I even seen it. So I'm like, wait, what? Why you saying that? You trying to soften me up for something? What? Now I need to really see it. And then when I seen it and read it, and so now I got these emotions in real time while I'm having to sit in front of all these people. and I couldn't really contain it. Like like I ain't disrespect nobody though. I ain't say nothing disrespectful, but I said a lot of things in there, and I've never been in a eval debrief where I did most of the talking. That's not the norm. Normally, you got your chief say something, your divo say something, your department LCBO say something, Chang say something, XOCOCM, like everybody else talk, but it was me doing most of the talking because they like all kind of realized like this is kind of messed up
Yeah.
and nobody did nothing about it. Like, except, oh, you deserve better. But like, I was just,
So I got one little quick thing. Do you think it was a confusion on the reason why you declined to take the test? You think they may have thought
I
you
don't think
declined
there
because you was getting
was,
out?
I don't think there was confusion because, like anybody that
Talk
asked,
to you,
like I
yeah.
explained, I don't even think it was
Yo,
confusion.
that don't
I don't,
matter.
to be
Let
honest,
me
I don't
cut you
think
off.
people care.
It don't. It don't.
It
Let me
don't.
cut
Yeah,
you
I
off.
don't
Yeah,
think
that
people
don't
care.
matter. That don't matter. If
It
he's
don't.
saying he's
Yeah,
not going to take the test, people got their own
that's all they
thoughts.
cared about. They
People
didn't
got their
care
own
the
thoughts,
why.
you know, and people had their own thoughts
Yeah, they didn't care.
about it. Most likely, you know what I'm saying? Like people
Yeah.
just had thoughts. Like it's different
Yeah.
people with different thoughts. So if he don't take the test, then it's like he hate the Navy and don't want to be a chief. You know, that's the
That's
thought
how it was
process.
looked at. Like
If you know if you don't take the test,
you're not team Navy, so like whatever. That's how it was looked at.
nobody's gonna buy that. Yo, this a family decision. This is my personal decision because I'm judged by God and I'm in this world for me. Like nobody gonna buy that. It's
Yeah.
a Navy thought. Like, oh, he don't want to be a chief, right? And like a lot of people when I don't, like I said, not specifics, right? But a lot of people in that room was a little surprised, right? And I will kind of give Skipper credit for being surprised and trying to do whatever he could do to fix it. You know, outside of the fact that all the first classes were already ranked and shit. Remember, he talked to you. You know, the captain talked to you after. But another thing I give you credit for was, you know, GSE1, he contained himself. Like he wasn't like irate. Like it almost was like he wrote down what he was gonna say. It was that like well kind of spoken and delivered. You know what I'm saying? So it almost was like he kind of, you know, and his point was clear and it wasn't just emotional. And I think that's also what made, because I think we had I think you left and then we stayed back with the captain because the captain he still had some questions. You know what I mean? So I think that what happened was it was some clarity made by him. So that's another thing. And we I'm not talking about this to unearth bullshit about what happened, you know, at last ship or whatever, because that's definitely not. But it's because it might be a seller that this kind of thing happens to. And the biggest thing, because the first topic was the regret. And I remember talking to GSE1 after, and he's like, "Yeah, chief, man, I just regret even announcing that, you know, I was getting out. You know, however channels, whoever found out, he was like, yo, I'll never do that again. You know what I'm saying? And I remember that happened with my boy Lee. He said he was getting out and they were supposed to mapping or whatever. This back when it was called cap and they didn't capping. They was like, yeah, he not getting capped. And he was mad. He's like, how come you guys ain't capping? He was like, yo, didn't you say you was getting out? Like, so he, you know, who knows if he was actually going to get capped or not, but that was that reason for not capping him. And he definitely was a like standout, you know, worker. So I remember us talking back and we probably went to Tool issue. And GSE1, he's just
I take a little bit of responsibility for that because I did that to myself. Like I knew better, and I tried to keep it as low as I could, but it got to the point to where, like, all right, now I need to do tap, and that's when like I couldn't hide it because it's like now I'm trying to do tap or TGPS, whatever you want to call it. Like, so at that point, now that I'm trying to prepare as if I may actually be getting out, and that paperwork got to get routed. Like you can't really hide it at that point. And I wish maybe I could have put it off longer, but I was already at the around the year mark to where I should be preparing for all that. But yeah, I wish I could have kept that quiet a little bit longer. And then like things turned out. And then the crazy part after that, I ended up um with COVID. I ended up popping positive. So 2 weeks at home. And that's when like a lot of things started to hit me. Like all that time away from the ship, all the talks with the wife, like really game planning, like what's the end game, what do we want, what are we trying to do, what makes sense, like. And that was the first, because when you on a ship, it's so much happening so fast, and you don't get to think a lot of things through 100%. Like you're thinking about stuff and you're trying to make decisions, but you got in-serve that we preparing for. You got uh, home port shift we thinking about, and then the point that like it's so much going on that you don't really get time to just step back and just really think. And that those 2 weeks, like that is when I decided, like those 2 weeks away gave me time to like figure out that like I still want to do this, like because I didn't know if I could or if I wanted to or if I had enough strength left to even want to finish up. But like those 2 weeks away kind of got me right mentally and like back focused. And then that's when I decided. But then like at that point the damage was already done. So
Yeah. It was. I had a lot of issues, period, with that season of first class evals. Period. It was more stuff. It was other stuff. It was a few things that happened that we had a lot of problems with. Like even with the debrief, because we were supposed to soft debrief them because it was like they wasn't gonna have enough time all to get debriefed by the CO. We wound up not soft debriefing them. Like I said, I didn't see the eval. The eval was I was in that bitch, man. You know what I'm saying? I was at the debrief pissed. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
that's hard to talk about, man. That's pretty hard to talk about.
Yeah, it was rough, man. And I'm actually looking for some, anybody that want to kind of expand this conversation. I want to get off of it. We weren't even supposed to go here. I had this conversation, but I'm looking, but I think it was a good story. I think, probably, the purpose is clear on why but if anybody, want to expand, that conversation, I'm definitely open.
Or tell us some one of them good stories they may have that's out there that some may have possibly happened to them out there.
All right, let me quickly get into the hero of the week, who is an electrician, of course. We did shit too. Yeah, we did shit too, man. Yeah. So I gotta not curse for a second because I want to make sure that the hero of the week is clean when we chop it up. So this week's that's gonna be crazy, right? This week's hero is Alfred Howard Akers, right? He's an EM3. So Alfred Howard Akers is being awarded for actions during World War II. He was on the USS Reed, DDG 369 from St. Louis. He's born February 15th, 1924. So the President of the United States of America takes pride in presenting the Navy Cross posthumously to electricians mate third class Alfred Howard Akers Jr., United States Navy, for extraordinary heroism and devotion to duty in action against the enemy while serving on board the destroyer USS Reed in action against the enemy on 11 December 1944 in the Mindanao Sea in the Philippine Islands. Electricians made third-class Akers demonstrated outstanding heroism and self-sacrifice in assisting a wounded shipmate escape from the USS Reed while she was afire and sinking as the result of an enemy air attack on 11 December 1944. Although the ship was literally ripped apart in the vicinity of his battle station, the steering motor room, and was already flooded through its escape hatch, electricians made third-class Akers forfeited his opportunity to escape in order to assist a wounded shipmate up through the hatch and into the clear. Within seconds, the ship rolled over and sank. The gallant courage and spirit of self-sacrifice displayed by electricians made third-class Akers exemplifies the highest traditions of the Navy of the United States. He gallantly gave his life for his country. So, EM3, Alfred Akers, and he was standing watch and staring.
Man, hey, this story is a little bit like, it seemed like almost in this story, man, like you kind of like he knew when he saved that person, this other sailor, that he knew he was gonna die. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like if you're in a gunfight, you going out there to save someone, it's still maybe a possible. You say, okay, I'm going out here to fight. You know what I mean? I'm shooting back, you're shooting at me. But when you lift that person through that hatch, and now I know I'm not gonna make it, man. I think that's wow, man.
Yeah,
that's really, when you say self-sacrifice, that's really it right there, man. That's powerful, man.
Yeah, he's an really EM3 powerful, man, and that's why I wanted to find an EM, man, because we always get out here and we say, this could be any of us, so and a lot of times, you read these and it's, again, like we say sometimes, it might have been a corpsman that was FMF, or it might have been, somebody that is supposed to be in a position of battle or a fight or something like that. So when we get in here and we talk about these regular people, doing things and just sacrificing their life, so he sacrificed his life to help a wounded seller.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He's healthy, whatever. He sacrificed his life to help a wounded seller. So that, man, that's like double time angel to me. Angel on earth and angel, out of here. So that's my thoughts on that. Anything on that one, GSE1?
Now, that's a good story. I don't think I had heard that one.
Yeah, man. It's crazy, man.
It's powerful.
EM3.
Powerful.
That's crazy, man. So did we talk about, you already talked about senior leaders needing bonuses, right?
Yeah, we talked about that.
All right. So real quick, we're gonna kind of breeze through a couple topics real quick just to kind of make sure. So I was in DAPA school, right? And I don't want to get too deep into it, but a topic came up. So if, let's say you're a DAPA, both of y'all, let's say one of y'all to DAPA. If somebody did drugs to get out, right? And you know that the reason why they did drugs was to get out, right? Would you try to drag out the separation process to be like spiteful?
I wouldn't. I'm not personal. I mean, ain't nothing ever personal with me when it comes to things like that. If you pop on that piss test, I'm doing everything I need to do to get your ass out. And that's it. That's the end of it for me. I'm not gonna take it nothing personal, and I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but I could see a situation where some would, depending on how you went about it. Like, but yeah, I wouldn't drag it out.
You're right though. I can see it happening.
Oh yeah.
I can see people doing it most definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Damo?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I just believe that people are gonna give you the energy that they offer. So and when somebody's doing something like that to get out, that's most likely somebody that I don't want in. Like I don't want you in, man.
I have
like,
seen that before though. I have seen that.
Yeah.
That happened on Essex. Like it was two sailors actually that were like smoking on the ship on purpose because they wanted to get caught, because they wanted out, and it didn't happen quickly. They weren't out. Like it wasn't like, oh, you a mass, do your 45 and like, no, it wasn't a quick process.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna take a while. You drag it out. Drugs is one of them that you don't have to drag it out too much though. Mm-hmm. So question, right? Y'all want to talk about this wife who did the Facebook post that went pretty much viral, and it's a Navy Times story and all that. Y'all familiar with the story?
I'm somewhat familiar. I looked into it. Yes.
David, man, you sent me the story. Amen.
Yeah, I know I sent it to you, but I'm not. I sent it to you.
Did you read her post?
No,
I didn't see the post, but I saw the story. Like, and in the story, it did say what she said, but I don't know if it was everything that she posted or I'm not sure.
Her post was long. I read it.
It didn't show the whole thing then, because in the story I read, it wasn't long.
Yeah, I read it when it was available. It's only one part of it that and I could be confused about what I read, and that's why I don't want to talk about some of these stories that got like gray areas. Like I don't really want to discuss, but we could kind of talk around it. But it was a part I read where I think she reached out to the command for the results from the urinalysis. And I think she was a little bit confused about why it seemed like the command was taking so long. But expert kind of viewpoint is that the test lab, wherever that test lab, the drug test lab, is the people that actually has the urine. You know what I'm saying? And they just pretty much digitally put the results up. And
look, know where you going now. Look,
No, I know the story now. I know the story now. I know what story you're talking about now. I was confused for a minute, but yeah, I got you. I'm back now, Damo. I'm back, man.
So they put the results. They put the results up in IFT, DTL, IFA. We call it IFA diddle. Some people might call it something different, like DSET, decade type shit. But they put the results up in IFT, DTL, and that's how your UPC and your DAPA see the results from the urinalysis. So it's not like, you could be like, if you're a spouse or whatever, you could be like, yo, let me get the urine and I'm gonna take it somewhere. No, it's like the drug lab has that, and they might freeze it and like over, because even if they hold it, like let's say the case lasts longer than a year, you gotta, make sure they extend that urine if they, holding it in the case that lasts longer than a year. So that was the one thing I saw. But now that you remember it, what we talked about.
Man, the story is kind of crazy, man. And I admit, and I kind of coming from the wife's standpoint, when you know your husband, right? Hey, this guy don't do this and this guy don't do that, and I know him or her. I know my spouse, right? So I think there was kind of one of them stories where I know they don't do drugs. I know they don't do stuff to this level or whatever. And she fought it, right? So she fought the story, and they couldn't produce, nothing for her. I guess they had lawyers, they had all this stuff, and they was asking for this stuff, and it was like they don't have it, and and they found out that they didn't have a test that he failed.
Oh, they ain't even
this
have
from the story.
They saying
they didn't have
it
wasn't a failed. Yes, they didn't have a failed test on him. And
that's crazy.
That's the crazy part to me right there, man. Like, what in the hell is going on?
I never heard nothing like that before.
Me either.
That's crazy.
He's about to get kicked, and they could not produce a failed test. Now, again, that's her story. I don't know the other side of the story, but that's what the article was talking about, that they didn't have a actual failed test. And I guess, and then in the story was talking a little bit also about they try to kick him out again. They set them up like that didn't work type stuff. It didn't end up giving him 45 for something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And taking him back to Mass again. I forgot what that was for, but yeah, man, that was a crazy story, man. And I remember sending it to you, not Damo. Yeah, that was crazy.
Hey, now my question is this: with a story like this, right? Do you need to see two sides, or can you draw some kind of conclusion with just one side of the story?
Well, I always like to hear both sides. This is a crazy story right here, though, and it's hard not to believe them if they can't produce it and they got off. You know what I mean? Like that story. That's where I probably don't need to see both sides, because he didn't get kicked out for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I probably don't need it. It was something she had to be telling the truth, because ain't nothing ended up happening to him about that story. So probably not on this story anyway.
Yeah, but it's a bigger story.
But I like
right?
to see the other. Yeah, but I like to see the other side, because I want to know what happened. Why did you guys go after this guy and lie and all this stuff to get him kicked out when none of that stuff happened? So I like to hear
I'm trying to find
from a Dapper standpoint, because how did this story get to the CO? How did the CO know about this to actual kick them out? Seems like it's a lot of stuff that's supposed to been that's happening.
Yeah,
this
is definitely one of them things where we definitely need to hear the other side, but the other side don't even matter, because it's already flagrant. Like it's already
yeah.
I
just want to know, right?
It's right. It's a mental health.
It don't matter. Yeah.
Right.
It's a mental health story in there too, though, right? Like it's something else about his mental health state, him gaining more weight than.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother. It ain't just this whole, urinalysis, this piss test. It's a whole nother
story,
mental health story about him trying to get help and treatment and stuff like that. I just, like I said, with these kind of stories, I never like to jump the gun with them. And I'm not saying that, she's, like her points don't stand, but I don't like to jump the gun, because I know it's a whole lot more than we're reading. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Even outside of her posts, he got his own viewpoint of it. She knows whatever is extended to her from his information and stuff like that. Yeah. Now it looked like it looked like military.com actually was able to talk to him or whatever. But it looked like he started struggling last year. He just like, kind of like you with having a kid, GSE1. So he had a kid, and he's young, man. He's 23 years old, stuff like that. He talked about the environment not being healthy. And I think some of that stuff could be a shocker for some, sellers, man, some junior sellers, where you go somewhere and the morale's kind of low, stuff like that, man. We got a young, I got a young officer at my command, and she's like super positive, man. And, she's beeline and captain, like just her head is like just in the clouds, and she loves the Navy. Like, and it's like for me, it's a breath of fresh air talking to her. Cause she just like no complaints. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how was your last shift? Did it feel like a boys club? no complaints. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm weird, like asking her certain questions. Like, I don't want to taint her. She's had a very great experience, man. And I know I had a good experience too, and I hope that the time that I experienced with people, like, for instance, like y'all two, that we had good experience, with each other, and that the whole people part. You know what I'm saying? I was telling the dudes when I went to my last ship, it was some junior sellers on the quarterdeck, and I'm like, yo, y'all might, sometime yum around because it's decoming, so they got a lot of work going on and stuff. They just had a death a year and a half ago, like on deployment and stuff like that. But I'm like, yo, y'all might like go through stuff. Y'all might, think about all that stuff. I'm like, but the thing you're gonna remember is these people that you share these times with, the fun you had and all that. Because man, I'm going back to my first ship. When I left that ship, man, I used to have nightmares that I had to go back there. I used to have nightmares. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I used to have dreams that, like, for some reason, I was back there being the works in the soup again. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, yeah, your shore duty ain't work out. We brought you back. We need you back on the ship. So I used to have nightmares. So being able to go there as just 9 years removed or 10 years removed or whatever like that, and just miss it, still see my name on different things and still see that they didn't change anything on that damn ship, man. It was refreshing, man. Talking to those sellers, letting them know it's them people that get you through, man. So definitely when you get a seller that's isolated, like he felt like he was, man, we got to try something. We got to try something.
I want to add to that, man. Like, just to be clear, and I brought up earlier, I said that he went to mass for something else. That's what it was. They said he was faking it, or he wasn't being truthful about his mental health, and he went back to mask for that.
Yeah.
For that. So let me tell you, and I'm gonna say this like very clear, especially for sailors out there that have been around other sailors that committed suicide. Hey, I don't care about your feelings towards anybody. If someone's talking about mental health and where they at in their lifestyle, in their lifetime, you need to freaking act, right? You need to get them in touch with the right people to get stuff, done and get them help. You don't take that stuff lightly, regardless. I don't care. You know what I mean? You just don't take that stuff lightly, because you don't know. You really don't know. You're not in those people's heads and all that stuff.
Like I said, that ain't for me to determine. So I'm moving you right forward. You know what I mean? I'm a EMCS, man. I'm an electrician, and I'm halfway decent at that. Like I always say, I'm an electrician, and I'm trying to be decent at that.
Yep.
Like I'm definitely not a mental health. I'm definitely not a mental health specialist at all. Let's push you forward. Let somebody else figure this out.
Yeah, how the hell I'm gonna figure out you faking or you not being truthful? That's not.
So
what the fuck?
Now, and I think that brings me right into my next question. And I'm gonna ask GSE1 first. Do you think that good leaders shine through collective opinions? Right. So, example, the mess sucks. This ship sucks. The war room sucks, or whatever. Do you think? And I can extend that example a little bit, right? So, hey, man, that mess sucks, but seeing your leggings will help you out. You know what I'm saying? So my question is, do
you talking like you heard that before or something, man? You talking?
Nah,
I think there's a few people that
that's
might
just
have
an
heard
example. That's just an example. That's just I'm not like that. That's not real time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
But so my question is, do you think do good leaders shine through collective opinions, or does the collective opinion stand more than the exception to the condition?
That's a hard question to answer, because there are some, like that example you gave. Like, I've heard that before. Like I've heard, especially when some of the issues came up that certain people was dealing with on a ship, it was like, oh man, well, you can't trust the mess. Like, you can't trust, like, that was a big thing. Oh, you can't trust the chief mess. None of them, they ain't shit, or this, except for senior leggings and this person. And sometimes your name would come up too, but it was just like, there would be a handful of names that would come up, but then it would be like, oh, but the rest of them, they ain't shit. Can't trust them. But except for this one, and that one. But I don't know if that's a leadership thing. That's why I said it's kind of hard to answer, because I don't know if they saying, hey, I could trust this chief or this senior chief is a leadership thing, or if it's just this person seems sincere when I talk to them. And maybe I don't know if maybe that goes hand in hand with leadership, but I guess the answer is, I think uh a few can shine through. Yes, you can.
Yeah. Now, do you think that that's always? Do you think that the people that get looped into the group, you think it's always based off of like experiences, or it's just probably some people just looping people into the group?
It's not experience. Like somebody could not have a bad experience. Somebody could hear somebody say something about one chief and be like, oh man, I didn't know he was like that. Never talked to him, never had any interaction, but because this one person said something, and they might have a ulterior motive, or the chief might have corrected them and told them they need to shave in a P-way, or just said some regular Navy stuff to try to help correct the sailor, and they could be mad about that and say something that's not true, and then the person that never dealt with you before is now, it's like, oh yeah, he trash, or I can't talk to him, or he this, he that, just because somebody else. So they don't even need to have an experience with you to kind of group you in with everybody else. Unfortunately, you if the mess as a whole has a bad image, whether they know you or not, you fall into that, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, man, and it's like a thin line, man. That a lot of people deal with. I think a lot of chiefs might deal with it, but it's like a thin line because you could say yes. It's like I be listening to Meek rap, and then Meek rap, he'd be like, if I could give you $100 every time you ask, and at one time I don't, it's an issue, So like even at as a chief or whatever, in any position, but you could say yes a million times, and then at one no, you just the biggest asshole on a ship, And I know it's that's not discounting the actual assholes that's out there, but I remember one time Damon told me like, hey, such and such seller, they need to talk to you, but somebody told them not to or whatever, and I'm like, and I told the seller, I'm like, yo, what if somebody told me not to talk to you? I'm like, I would never listen to the person. I would listen because at the end of the day, we are people. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I would definitely give you the opportunity to be who you are. I'm not judging you based off somebody else's assessment of you. I'm judging you based off of mine or whatever. And then from then on, we had a great, kind of relationship. But it took I guess Damon had the stamp. It took them to talk to Damon, and then Damon be like, well, let me talk to him. And I talked to them, and I'm like, and I came right at it, man. I'm like, yo, I was told that you was told not to talk to me. It's just like, yeah, I was, somebody said you wasn't going. I'm like, man, I would never listen to somebody talking about you. So why would you listen to somebody say that about me? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's just a real thing. It's real people. But I think some of those chiefs, some of them probably not even had an impact on a seller, period. It just got tossed to they just got tossed to the group. You know what I mean? Where it's like you go to a party, they be like, yo, everybody at this party. Is it really everybody at this party? So that's why I just wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, I got a little bit on it too, man. It's the old saying, man, perception is reality, man. You can lead your way through it, right? You can be a great leader and get out through it, but if your name out there about something, it just makes it harder. It don't say you can't, be a great leader and do your thing, but it just makes it a little bit more complicated. And like the same example you used, Damo, that person may have not, came to talk to you. You know what I mean? Just because of that little bit of somebody said something, because what you talked to the other person about didn't go their way. So now you're no good no more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every situation is different.
And, best believe that they would have, probably told the next person that you can't talk to me though. That person, the person that didn't even, the person that the other person told, and the other person in this particular case, that's a real case. The other person didn't even talk to me about it. You just told somebody they can't talk.
Even crazier, right? Even crazier, yeah.
But they would have, that's all I wanted to say, Dan. I'm still listening.
Yeah. But and that's my whole thing. I think you can lead through it and do your thing. Do your a leader is a leader, man. By they know what they need to do, but at the same time, though, people can like put some salt on your name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They can put some salt on your name, man. Make it hard for people to come reach out to you because like me personally, man, I like freaking giving back, like giving feedback, like talking to sailors, and if somebody putting that bad mouth on me, is to be make it a little bit harder. You know what I mean? To get that out.
Yeah, man. I was watching the prank video I posted from oh boy on YouTube about Chiefs and stuff. And he was like, he was explaining after he pranked the people, he then like kind of gave up, like he gave his tell. He was like, hey, it's a hidden camera. I'm doing a prank. I was once in the military and we had like these people called Chiefs, and like they was all like assholes and they just look for like reasons to like mess with people, So that was like the collective like group thing again, right? Because he wasn't like, yo, we had these Chiefs, they was assholes. He wasn't like, but I had one or two that was like good dudes. It was like, yo, now he was telling civilians this, like, so that's like, so now a civilian like, oh shit, it's these people in the Navy called Chiefs that's like just assholes, like this whole group of people, because this dude was acting like, so it's like, and that's why I asked like, is it like and a lot of times it's the collective that kind of shines more than the people that stand out.
But what Damon just said is the that's probably the one thing you could do to kind of combat that. If you one of the ones that's kind of like outgoing and you talk to the people, like then they kind of forced to have to like if I'm seeing you at the ship store and I'm like, oh man, like oh you got this phone or oh you playing this game on like if you interacting with people now they have to now you got to judge me off this interaction and not what somebody said. So like if the people can feel like if the sailors can feel you, like if they could talk to you, like if you actually approach them, then it kind of forces them to like now they get that's something that they gotta consider that. So I mean it maybe it shouldn't be that way, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you out there and you communicating and talking to the people, you could kind of create your own
narrative.
And you still got to play through it because people be questioning. People gonna be questioning your motives at first.
That's true.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Right.
And you know what's crazy though? I mean, I don't know if everybody just heard it like I heard it. Someone is talking about you and telling another person not to do something, and they never even talk to you about something. Ain't that's crazy, man? That's just crazy. Like this person is throwing salt on you and never actually talk to you about nothing. It's just like crazy to me, man. Like, is that real life?
Yeah, it was weird. It was, and it's weird when your intentions, like the weirdest thing for me, and we talked about it on Mike Stedman's podcast, man. But it's whenever he released, I talked to him. He supposed to release it this month. But that's the weirdest thing because I never want, for me. And I remember I said that was like one of the things I struggle with is like I want to control my own narrative. Like I don't want somebody else to control my narrative. Like you need to judge me based off of our interactions, based off of the times that now. If I was an asshole based off of our interaction, then I was an asshole to you. It's 7 times out of 10 that I wasn't. Like I'm almost like rarely like that's just not in my personality at this point since I met Angeline, right? But so and that's my biggest thing. I hate for other people to control my narrative or whatever like that. So that that's that in that case. And but that's something I struggle with because the thing is when you get into certain positions, people going to control your narrative no matter what. You know what I'm saying? You just going to have to work through it and deal with it. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how it goes. So let me ask you this question, GSE1. I know you got some topics that we need to hit. As a junior seller, right? Well, first question is, as a junior seller, were you comfortable sharing personal info with like people that you considered your leaders, like LPOs and LCPOs?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't because of it was more so because I didn't know that I could. And I know that sound kind of crazy, but I had quite a few chiefs when I was at my first command because we had one that he just rotated, it was his PRD, but then we had at like once we had one that left, and it wasn't his PRD, then it was like we were getting temporary chiefs. So on that one ship, I had probably like 6 or 7 chiefs. So I kind of got to see a bunch of different, like have a bunch of different leaders at one command, which probably isn't that normal. But the one thing that I noticed about, and I'm not, trying to, shit on them or nothing like that, but like what I noticed was everything was about the ship and the mission. So whenever they talked, it was, hey, this is what you need to do. This is that. Like it was all work, and that's
Yeah.
how, and that's just kind of how I thought that everything was supposed to be, because that's all I saw. Like I didn't know that you could talk to your chief about personal stuff, because it wasn't happening. Like I wasn't seeing it, and I think you were the first chief that I worked for that, like, I remember. I think this was our first quarters when we mustered with y'all, and you was like, what did everybody do this weekend? And I was just like, what? It was like you asking me what, like, and it sound crazy, but like I never had no chiefs ask me that before. Like that's everything was like, hey, this is what's expected for the day. This the work list. This is what you need to be doing. These GMTs need to be done, or you need to do like everything is work. So you don't realize that you, like, they not looking at you as like a human. They looking at you as a sailor. So it's like I didn't know that I could. I didn't, because I didn't feel like I could. Like I never saw that.
Yeah. And they might be looking at you as a human, but that's not what they need from you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like that's not
Right.
the,
Well, yeah, I said that wrong. Yeah.
yeah. Like that's not the currency that they need from you. You
Right.
know, the value, your value for them. And I know dudes like that. Like, yo,
Mhm.
dude, like I'm not trying to, like, I'm not making friends. I'm not trying to, it ain't about making friends, right? It's about kind of like some level ground, in my opinion. But it's like a lot of dudes like, man, like I'm putting out the work. These guys doing the work. And if they got a personal problem, like a medical thing or something like that, I'm gonna take care of it, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of, even at my new command, I learned a lot of problems you find them by just communicating with like sellers. Like you figure them out. Like the seller just talking to you, like, and might not even know they got an issue. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, I haven't been able to park such and such because of such and such, and they just think it's normal. I'm like, nah, you should be able to do that. Let's go, let's go take care of that stuff like that. So it's always good to have that healthy, conversation. So you already answered my next question, because my next question was going to be, what would have made you comfortable in sharing that, personal info? But you already kind of said it. Like it's like that engagement, like
And I
those
just want to
people.
say too that I don't fit, like I don't look at them as less of a chief neither, because they didn't have those interactions. Like I understand that they, like you said, that they are focused on, this is the mission, this is what we need to do. Like all the other stuff, like I don't really need to talk about that right now. I'm not really interested in that right now. So I don't think of them as less of a chief. But if you are that kind of chief, just do know that if your people are going through stuff, you're not going to be the one they talk to. If that's your, like, you have to be, they have to know that you care about what they doing other than the maintenance or what they doing for the division. Like if I don't think you care about what I do when I leave the ship, then of course I'm not telling you if that I got issues at home with my wife, or with my kid, or I got this that I'm dealing with, or mental. Like I'm not gonna tell you that, because we don't have that kind of relationship. So why would I tell you? So
All
just
right,
be
so
mindful if you that kind of chief.
you made me think of
I,
something though. What you got, David?
I just got an example too, man. And I'm the same way too. My personal stuff is my personal business, right? I don't talk about it. I don't go whatever to nobody. And I had this thing with my ex-wife that was happening to me on the ship, and I was getting this information that kept coming to the ship, and I knew about it, and I didn't open up to my chief about it until he got a hold to it.
Yeah.
Until, you know what I mean, they got it, and then I brought it to him. And the first thing he say, man, why you ain't talk to me about this way earlier, which I should have. Trust me, it was that big of a deal that I should have been talking about it to him a lot earlier. But like you said, though, it's not that type of relationship
Right.
we got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not like going to him. And me personally, for me, sailors talk to me all the time, but I don't never go up and really bring up personal stuff with them. I just interact with them. I make it comfortable for them to talk back and forth.
Yeah.
And like Damo said, then it just comes out.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean? The
that's the
conversation just comes
approachability
up
part.
and comes out.
That's being
Yeah,
approachable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm an open book. So I know that about myself. I'm like super transparent. I'm an open book. So if somebody sit with me long enough, they gonna hear about Angeline. They gonna hear about Saint. They gonna hear about the house. They gonna like, you know, if somebody sit with me long enough, they just gonna hear everything. And the crazy thing is though, I've had like my semio introductions and stuff like that. I sit with sellers and I get into like who I am as a person, right? And then I don't even got to pull nothing out of them after that. You know, I just stop talking. And then they be like, well, man, Chief, you know, this back, you know, being a chief, they like, man, Chief, man, look, I'm going to just get straight to it, man. You know, this happened, that happened. These my intentions. I come from a broken home. My mom, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, damn, I found out, you know, just from pure me being like open like that. And then I know everybody, that's definitely not the right approach. Cause sometimes I feel like that's taken for granted. You know what I mean? And I was going to ask you that, but I don't feel like getting into that because that's a whole big topic that I think we could kind of explore another time. If some of those like more approachable chiefs and stuff like that sometimes get taken for granted. So that's a topic that I would love to kind of explore some other time. But let's get into these topics you got, man. I know you got a couple of topics.
I was freestyling too. I don't even remember the topic like off the top of my head.
All right, let's go. Let's just hit the first one then. Like, well, I'm gonna just hit because we covered a lot and we've been going for a minute. So one of them is: have you or anyone you know been a victim to scamming?
Oh my God! What?
Or have scammers in your family? Now, are you talking about military, like directed scamming? Or just scamming?
Like not just in general, like scamming in general, because that's a big profession now, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. But it's people making livings off of scamming. Like, it's a big deal.
Are they scamming? Like I want to say it's people scamming like every day. Like I'm getting like random text messages. Like, yo, this
I'm
is
getting
Diana's
them too.
friend.
I'm getting them. I just got one today that said you sent me some on Facebook, and I'm knowing it ain't like
you might be hacked again,
like,
bro.
it's crazy. Like
no, I don't think so.
Scamming is crazy right
crazy,
now.
Man.
It's man. But
I agree with the scamming, man. Like, and I even go to the degree, man. I think people just be scamming and just in general, man. Like when it comes to like work, when it comes to like for example, man, like if I got an inspection team, right? And I got one guy just always is like waiting for everybody else to do something until he'll do like the last little easy thing. I feel like you scamming me, man. Like if you the one that's staying in the office all the time, you know what I mean? You ain't going out on inspection. Then you wait because you got all these other people. They always volunteer. Hey, you need me to go to the ship? Yeah, I go, man. I got it. Yeah, I got it. You never volunteer for shit. Nothing, no time. I feel like you're scamming, man.
Nah, that's slacking. That's not scamming. I'm talking about like
scamming, man.
Nah, that's different. That's not
scheming. Nah. Hey, scheming and scamming, man.
Nah, but I like it's, and my wife, she probably gonna be mad about this one, but like she just got with like a super intricate one, because it was like somebody that she knew that was basically scamming her, like through some like to make an account to be able to like, cause they supposed to be like mining Bitcoin or some shit, like, and she like just like, oh, it worked for me, this is what I did, and then like putting you through to a third party and have like it was crazy, like
that's
how
the one they got me with, man.
It was
that's
like it was I'm like, that was a legit scam. Like,
yeah, that's the one they got me with, man. That's the one that I talked about on here. That's the one they got me with.
That's what they got you. Yeah, I'm like, man, that one was crazy.
Well, it was like, you know, because it was like, yo, this company that if you, it wasn't mine, it was a little different probably, but it was like, it's this company that if you put in like X amount of dollars, you get it back in Bitcoin, like, but you get like 5 times more. But it was like a person I knew, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, somebody like, you know, yeah.
And I'm like texting him. Right? Remember the story? I'm like texting him on the side, like, yo, bro. And he not answering. Like, so I'm like, yo, is this the wrong number? Like, it's like, you know, so then I'm asking him, I'm like, what happened with, now this was after I told the story already at some point, but this is after they already got me. They had already got me for like $200, right? But I'm asking them, and it's crazy because it was like 2 a.m, and it should never be this hard to give somebody your money, right? It was like super hard to get this person by $200. It was like, all right, well, if you can't do the Amazon gift card, then why don't you go Apple Pay? I was like, it was just super hard. But I'm like, how did we meet? You know, because after I gave them the 2, they like, well, if you give me like 3 more, I could give you like 1,800, whatever. So I'm like, well, how did we meet? You know, and they never was. I'm like, yo, my bro. And they like, yo, come on, stop playing. Like, you know how we met? I'm like, no, yeah. I like, yo, my bro would care that I cared if he was hacked and would tell me how we met. And they was like, come on, stop playing, man. And they kept showing me like different pictures of him. But they stole his account. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they would show me like a picture of him holding his ID. And I'm like, yo, why would you even be like, why would you even do that? I don't even know why he did that in real life. Like why he got that picture. But I think he was trying to show he was retired or something. But I got for sure. I got scammed.
Yeah.
So Mac, so Mac, so that's my question for you, Mac. Was it her friend, or like it was his friend?
I think,
I mean?
But that's
Yeah,
what made it crazy because I think this person was in on it. Like but then the third party was like basically they made it seem like the third person, like they showed all this stuff like, hey, I got hacked, and they might have got hacked, but it was just like, so this person was communicating as you the whole time, and if it was, when I called you and talked to you, why you ain't? So it was just like, it was super intricate because it's like you, like, even if you did hack this person that I know and they not the ones talking to me, it was, I was just like, man, these scams is getting next level. Like they getting, yeah, they I just thought that was interesting.
We had an episode. Yeah, we had an episode too, man, before about that too, man. On how on some of the scamming that's going on in the military and all that stuff, the VA and all that stuff, man. So it's crazy out there, man.
Yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people like big time government contract. Like it's a lot of big time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was
that was like the Fat Leonard episode or something, right?
Yeah, you got Fat Leonard. Then it's so many
Leonard.
stories.
Yeah, I remember that
about.
one. Yeah,
it's so much though, man. It's even more than Fat Leonard, man. But all right, but I think, man, we talked about everything that we could talk about. Because we definitely not gonna do a 3-hour pod, man. I'm watching that show, The Ultimatum, on Netflix.
I'm about to check that out. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, I gotta get back.
I'm gonna check, and only heard of it because Joe was hyping it, so I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah. I gotta get back to that.
I'm always looking for new shows, man. I'm always looking for new shows.
I'm watching DMZ right now. That is crazy. What, man?
We started that. We ain't finished it yet. We started.
Man,
we started
that. Yo, that is yes. With Rosario Dawson.
Yeah.
That's I'm liking that, and obviously Moon Knight. But
Moon Knight. Yeah, I gotta watch episode 3.
But it's playoff time, so it ain't much. Ain't much on my TV other than ESPN. Like, I mean, that's the case most of the time anyway. I'm a sports, but man,
most definitely.
So, but I got a quick question for you, and I might be putting you on a spot, but if I am, I'm gonna give you some time to think. Okay. Do you have a book recommendation for our listeners? If you need time to think, let me know. I'm gonna go over my book.
Okay. I'm just gonna need a second because now I need to look at. Like I just finished BMF, like that book, the story of BMF. And I just I got a few that's in the queue, so let me just look at like the ones I just went.
All right, I'm gonna take a second. I'm gonna talk about a book that I just finished. I just finished a book called Miracle Mornings, the not so obvious self-help book by Hal Elrod, man. And it's a really good book. It's about starting your day off early, taking some time to meditate, taking some time to work out. He does it in like 60-minute to 2-hour kind of like structured settings of what you need to do in the morning, right? So it's like meditate, work out, journal, affirmations, and a whole bunch of kind of, stuff like that. Whereas you take 5 minutes to meditate, 5 minutes for your affirmations, 20 minutes to work out, stuff like that. He even busted all the way down to like, if you really don't have enough time, 6 minutes, like just take 6 minutes out of your day to like focus on, yourself. What I really liked about the book, it's like any other self-help book, y'all, where it's like, these are all things I know that I need to do, but it's like a gut punch. It's like hearing it again. It's like a gut punch. Like, being intentional about like, those things. He talking about like the people that you be around. The people, like if you're not around people that's like focused on that stuff, then you're not going to be focused on that stuff. He even talk about how, and this dude I'm talking about, he died. He died in a car crash. He died in a car accident or whatever. Like at some point, like he died for like 20 seconds and, and come back. But I think the last chapter, where it stood out to me, it was about him like really not being in shape and then going on to do like an ultra marathon, where the first day he went out, he couldn't even run like a half a block, but he just said, I'm gonna go back out again tomorrow. And then he ran a little bit more. He said, I'm gonna go back out again tomorrow. And then in a month, because his whole thought process is it takes 30 days to develop a habit. So day 1 through 10, he got like a whole thing, but I'm about to mess it up. Day 1 through 10, it's like you really hurting. Day 10 through 20, you uncomfortable. And then day 20 through 30, you unstoppable or whatever. So I got the second two good, uncomfortable, unstoppable. And then you just keep going. So his thought process is 30 days to develop a habit. He went from not being able to run a quarter mile to being able to run 6 miles in the first month. So he said, why not try he was already going for a marathon. He said, why not try for the ultra? And he finished it in like 15 hours or something like that. So, and it's just all about being intentional with everything, your diet, your sleep schedule, your workout, like just telling yourself you're going to do it and having enough discipline to do it. And that's why I said it's like a gut punch, because it ain't really much you could read in a self-help book, whether it be about money management or anything that you don't know. You know what I'm saying? like you when you wasting money, when you got your vices, when you got all this stuff. But this is a really good one. It's short too. It's under 4 hours. It's a under 4 hour read or whatever. And it was a.
You said
punch.
morning. What was that? Morning Miracle.
Miracle Mornings by Hal Elrod. Shout out to my boy Wes, my business partner for Plank on a Pizza, my boy Wes, who kind of suggested it to me. So it says the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod is a 6-step morning routine using what are called life savers, right? So S is for silence, A is for affirmations, V is for visualization, E is for exercise, R is for reading, and S is for scribing. The visualization part is a really good, part on there. It's like, see what you want to be. Like another, almost done. Another cool story was about Jim Carrey, who wrote a $10 million check to himself 7 years before he cashed it or whatever. So like 7 years before Dumb and Dumber, he wrote a $10 million check for acting. Before he was able to cash it to himself. And then 7 years later, he actually got paid $10 million for his role on Dumb and Dumber or whatever like that. So it was like he visualized that, he said that he was going to do it. There was some stuff in there about Will Smith, but I'm not going to talk about him.
Oh, I know you not. I know.
Yeah, I ain't going to talk about it.
You know the repercussions.
Well, he shouldn't have won an Oscar. I'll get past this, man. This dude shouldn't have won an Oscar. He shouldn't. He shouldn't have won an Oscar. Like, I want to make that clear that he shouldn't have won an Oscar for that role. He should have had more tries to win an Oscar. Now his tries to win an Oscar are done. But he should have had more tries to win an Oscar. That wasn't it to me. That wasn't it to me for Will Smith. And I'm tired of people putting him up there with Denzel.
One day we gonna really get into why, like the story behind the hate, because I know he from Philly, you from Philly, and I'm wondering like if he bagged somebody that he wasn't supposed to bag back in the day that you really like. I know it ain't that
like one of my aunts, like
and maybe like you was in a car and he pulled up, or like it's got to be a story. Like,
so here's the thing though. Here's the bad thing.
Unnatural here's
hate. The bad thing. No, so I can't say the good stuff about Will Smith right now, right? Oh, well, I got a lot of good stuff that I would have said about Will Smith, right? I mean, I did the book review, right? And I gave him all his flowers that I could give him on his book review. I'm only talking about his movies and the roles. So every movie up until Hitch, I love. That I Am Legend is bullshit to me. don't like people that like it. I don't know why they like it. They stuck to this Tom Cruise Castaway nostalgia. It ain't Castaway. I Am Legend is not Castaway, right? I know some people probably like, why they
But it's
even
not a bad movie.
I Am Legend is a bad movie. It's a bad movie. Ain't that the girl from Queen of the South? The lady that played
what
Queen
he
of the South
did to
in
your
that movie?
aunt, man. Just let us know what he did. What he did.
He just pissed me. I mean, it's not him. It ain't even Will. It's so this what happened, right? One day I was on watch. Tyler Lewis. You remember Taylor Lewis. I remember you, man. But he was saying that Will Smith was just like the greatest actor or something like that. I'm like, yo, and you know how it is when you having a debate, right? I'm like, no, Will Smith ain't that good. You know what I'm saying? He all right, but he not that good. And the dude was like, no, he good. He started getting aggressive. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, Will Smith fucking sucks. Straight up.
Okay.
Like when you get like, yo, Will Smith sucks, man. He trash. Like, so then it's like, yo, now I have to see him fail now. You know what I mean? Like I got a basket, and I'm only talking about movies. I'm not talking about the Oscar. I ain't talking about that. I'm only talking about the same thing I would have been talking about Will Smith 2 months ago. He made a string of shitty movies, and even when me and the dude was talking, it was like 7 Pounds had came out, and he played in that with, like you watching DMZ.
Rosario.
He played in that with Rosario Dawson.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I was so this what really did it for me. Hancock and 7 Pounds. I think I said this on the pod before. If I did, I'm sorry, y'all. But Hancock and 7 Pounds came out. Matter of fact, I did, but I messed it up when I said it before. But Hancock and 7 Pounds came out, and it was like the same role. Like his acting was exactly the same in both of those roles. You could put both the movies on now and watch the first 10 minutes and tell me his facial expression, his tone, and everything ain't the same, right? And now why am I so serious about this fucking topic, right? But I was like, this is trash. You know what I'm saying? So Hancock was kind of corny, and then 7 Pounds, I was talking to my friend. Again, Will Smith don't deserve none of my hate. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, yo, Will Smith killed that shit, man. My man P, who I actually just interviewed on the Family. And I'm like, Will Smith? I was like, no, he didn't. I was like, Ted Danson did better than Will Smith in that movie. I was like, Rosario Dawson outacted the hell out of Will Smith in that movie, 7 Pounds. He was like, nah, man, Will Smith. So then I was like, all right, let's check out some reviews. I didn't know that the reviews were like going to say that Rosario Dawson like outacted him. But that's what the reviews was saying. Like he was highly outacted by Rosario Dawson in this movie. I'm like, yo, he's not that great. I like his movies. I've liked his movies. He's not that great of an actor for people to continuously. I was listening to that podcast, and one of the hosts was like, well, Will Smith and who he is, like he's not that good of an actor for us to be putting him in this elite acting status or whatever. Like, that's all. I like him. Well,
but I do think he deserved an Oscar for the movie he just in King Richard.
Over. Okay, so you saying he deserved now, Damon? Like this where we Damon, man.
Yeah, and I'm saying this.
You didn't see the other movies. You didn't see Macbeth, man. You didn't see it.
I did.
I saw Lady Macbeth. Oh man, what?
Denzel killed that shit.
Man, what?
You're right.
Well, Denzel went crazy.
See it,
he went crazy in that.
This is what I say though. This is what I say, man.
No, you can't.
I did not see it, but look at the people who voted for who gonna win at Oscar. You think they gave it to Will because
I'm not talking about votes. I'm talking about from what you watched. Did you even see Power of the Dog, the movie Power of the Dog?
Mm-mm.
Right. And you didn't see Macbeth. I'm sure you saw the Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Well, he wasn't even nominated. But you didn't even see Macbeth. Denzel did better.
He killed.
So you wanted me to give it. So okay, you're right. So you want me to get a review on what I think who should win it, right? Not about people who do this for a living.
All I'm saying, yeah, but that's politics.
Well, okay.
That's politics.
Yeah, you can't say that. Like that's crazy.
If it wasn't politics, then Denzel and DiCaprio.
Yeah, so everybody who won an Oscar before him and all these other people, it's politics.
Yes. Yeah, it's politics for sure.
Okay.
Now, like some people get it for the roles. Some people get it when they deserve it. But
Macklemore should have won over Kendrick for Good Kid, Mad City.
That's the Oscars.
I mean, it's still an award though. It's still an award show. It's still an award show.
That's politics.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was politics. But with the what's the names though? With the Oscars, should Denzel have gotten it for Training Day? Like, should that have been his first Oscar, Training Day? Should The Revenant been Leo's first Oscar?
No.
You supposed to give it to him for the joint he did before The Revenant.
Everybody who win an Oscar win it for the movies they shouldn't win it for, and Will shouldn't have won it for King Richards because
I like King
Denzel
Richard,
smoked Lady Macbeth though. Like,
He did
and
great.
I like
gotta watch
I
that
like
now, man.
King Richards, but the acting Denzel did in that movie versus the acting that Will did, it's not even like what Will did was double A baseball. Like what Denzel did was like major league. Like
He commanded that shit. He commanded that
it's
shit
not even
every
on the
And I'm
same.
not-
It's not on the same level.
And I'm not surprised. I mean, Denzel is a way better fucking actor than damn near
right.
anybody we named. So I'm not surprised.
Right.
I mean,
If he a better actor, then I mean, who we giving it to? We giving it to the person based off of politics or the person based off of
yeah, I mean, I got you. And sometimes the movie itself too, though, kind of like the story of that person may help it out too.
Macbeth was a better story.
Wait.
Macbeth was a better story. Macbeth was better directed. Macbeth was better acted from all the other actors. Macbeth had more of a tone. Macbeth
and Macbeth took a fresh L.
Macbeth was one of the best looking movies. Macbeth probably was the best looking movie I saw last year in terms of the director. And it ain't like low ball directors. This is one of the Coen brothers. This ain't like bullshit directors. It ain't bullshit actors. It ain't none of that. Denzel okay. He okay not winning.
So you think Denzel probably gave him the okay? Go ahead and get that shit to Will.
Yeah, I think so. Because if you look at
it could have happened. It could have happened.
And if you looked at the interview before the awards, Denzel kind of corrected himself because Denzel was like, yeah, he worked hard. It's his time. And then Denzel kind of corrected himself. He was like, well, it could be his time or whatever like that. So I don't think that they don't know that they win an award before they get dressed that night.
Yeah.
Like, I think they know that shit. In my opinion. Honestly, I don't even want to get into the other part. I don't even want to talk about this.
Man, we didn't jump into Will Smith.
Man, this might. I don't even like talking about. I don't even like talking.
Man, I even
Will
said
Smith,
that
man.
I shouldn't have brought it up, but I know it's a I know it's a trigger.
Will, man.
I don't even disagree with most of what he's saying. Like, he has been in some bad movies, but it is just it's a trigger for you. And we gonna find out what he did to your aunt.
We gonna get to it, man.
We gonna get to the bottom
One
of
of
it.
my aunties, man. Well, what's your book, man? What's your book, man? What's your book, GSE1, man?
Oh, I haven't started it yet, like, because I just finished the BMF, and before that, I finished the autobiography of Malcolm X. Like, and that one I've been wanting to do for a while. So I've been into a lot of autobiographies lately, but the next one it's about chakras. So I'm about to see what that's about. So yeah.
Did you read the Malcolm X or did you do the audio book, the Lawrence Fishburne joint?
Oh, I did the audio book because that was a long that was a long one. I'm like, no, I'm not about to read through this one. I did the audio book, and it was Lawrence Fishburne too, so I knew it was gonna sound right. Yeah, like, I ain't want to hear nobody else doing it that was like that wasn't gonna do it justice. But
you feel like Will could have done it?
Nah. Oh man.
Hey, Malcolm, man.
Nah, but it was solid though. I really liked it. I liked it, and it kind of go along with the movie too. Basically, like, it's just a little bit more detail. But that was like a super motivating type of book, man. Like, these dudes, man. What? I
talked about it on here at some point, but that
book is powerful.
It's like it's like probably 3 books in one, but the first part is dope because it's setting the scene, right? It's setting the setting for who he was before.
Yeah.
Then he get into like his life, in Harlem when that whole part, the Harlem kind of, life he was doing.
He was a thug.
Yeah.
Straight up.
Yeah, some crazy stuff. But then that last part, the final third of that book, where it was like he's wise, like it's the dude.
He was,
what I'm saying? The dude, it was him, and now it got real good. Like, from the struggles with some of that stuff I don't get into because I don't know the full stories either. But from some of the struggles with Elijah Muhammad, and
for me, it was. I don't mean to cut you off, but for me, it was like how self-aware he was. Like, he just knew. Like, he knew when when his days was numbered. He knew, like,
he was dope.
He just knew, like that. That was inspiring to me on a level of, like, when I read like the one about Nipsey Hussle. Like, it was kind of gave me that type of vibe. But just somebody who kind of know that they on the clock and they gonna get everything done why they here, because they know like tomorrow not promised, and they know like even how he was saying his dad died a violent death, so he knew he was going to
Crazy.
die a violent death, and he knew like, and he was ready for it, and he like just how like just self-aware he was, and he knew that what I'm doing is gonna get me killed, and this is how I'm supposed to die, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
make an
And
impact, and
that'll make you turn up.
yeah.
That'll help you turn up.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to die peaceful. So like certain times I don't turn up. Like, yeah, I ain't turning up right here.
Nah, but he
like,
ain't even care. Like that's that
nah,
like
nah, he was
like yo,
good.
I'm not meant to die peaceful. He said that like I know I'm not gonna die old in my bed. I ain't dying like that.
Yeah, he was dope. And then it was even like his assessment of when he was assessing like the March on Washington or whatever, like when Martin gave the I Have a Dream speech. And it was just crazy getting it from that point of view, because like for years I only got it from one point of view. Like it was all just, peachy clean and all that. But it was not like, it was a whole group of people that didn't like, this whole thing. That kind of hit me a little bit with the Elvis story too, when like, I don't want to get into it too much, but it's like I love Elvis, like I've always loved him, but it was a whole other side of people that had a lot of issues with Elvis or whatever like that. And a lot of same thing with Sidney Poitier. You know what I'm saying? I always looked at him as a hero for boom, boom, boom. But even in Sidney's book, he was like, it was a whole group of people that was like, nah, like the blaxploitation crowd, like them, when they was making like Sweet Badasses, song and all that. They like, yo, that dude does not represent us. The same way like Dirk or somebody would be like I think Dirk was just in 50 Cent Instagram, like, yo, let's make a movie together so I could show them what Chirac, really looked like. So it was kind of that vibe when it came to those guys.
Spike Lee dead to me for what he did, man. He dead to me for that misrepresentation of my city, man.
That's
Dead
messed
to me.
up, man. Spike gave
Dead to
y'all
me.
do the right
I
thing.
don't care about that
Spike
no
gave
more. I would
y'all-
never watch any. I would never support Spike.
Spike gave y'all Devil in the Blue Dress.
I don't even care about none of that
Say
now.
Nana.
Like, nah. You just disrespecting my
funny
city, man.
And it's messed up because like literally like that movie, just like that movie where it was like the ladies, because I guess the concept is like ladies not gonna have sex with the men to stop gun violence. That movie had just came out like 10 years ago. It was on a lower scale, but that movie literally just came out. Like that's kind of weird. It was irresponsible. It was a whole lot. It was a whole lot, and I got no issue saying that. Spike is one of the greatest movie directors of our time, right? And he wanted
he might have been, but nah.
And then what they call it, like orator, like he one of the greatest orators of our time. He changed the game. He made that whole scene where you standing still when the world behind you. He did a lot, right?
I really like that, especially in Inside Man when Denzel go into the bank and he ain't moving, but you just see him kind of like Spike did that, but he trash. Like,
did they have a scene like that in Chirac?
I ain't even watched that shit. Like he don't disrespect my city, man.
Shit. Yeah, I heard that shit was ass. Hey, so we got one more thing to do, right? And I don't know if you want to hang out with us for the last bit of it all, and then we do our formal goodbyes after, or if we need a formal goodbye with you now. You willing to kick it with us? We just got to review this TV show real quick.
Review a TV show?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So Band of Brothers, right? Episode 9. Yo, a perfectly titled episode. Damon, you with me?
I'm with you, bro.
It's a perfectly titled episode. Why We Fight, right? And I didn't even remember the title as I was watching it. But when the scene, the climax, the pivotal scene, we've been watching this show for 8 episodes. It's only 10 episodes. Episode 9. When that scene hit, that's the first thing I said. I'm like, yo, this is why we fight. In that scene. Then I was like, oh shit, that's the name of the title. Perfectly titled episode. So first it started out with the intro where they were like humanizing the enemy. They were humanizing the Germans and stuff like that. And the little documentary thing, like, yo, we could have been friends in a different circumstance. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So all of this happens April 11th, 1945, Talum, right? Talum, Germany, right? And it's more talk about going home now. So it's more talk about getting up out of there and going to the house, going back home. Is feeling like everything done. and then I'm gonna just run through all mine real quick because
go ahead, man.
we got to guess. I like that they showed them reading the news for current events. You know what I'm saying? Different world. You could just get on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. It's crazy that the world we live in now is like super centralized, where you could just only get on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You don't gotta go anywhere else no more. I remember like when I used to like come home from work or whatever, I would have to check a bunch of different websites. And now it's just Twitter, Instagram. You got all the information you need, right? But they were reading the news, current events. Tom Hardy showed up. Right? I saw Tom Hardy. I'm like, oh shit, there go Tom Hardy.
My question, a real quick question: was he already in it? Because I had it in my notes too. Tom Hardy, the young Tom Hardy. So was he already? Was he?
I feel like I would have noticed.
I don't remember seeing him.
I feel like I would have noticed him. I feel like I would have noticed. But we have we got one of our listeners always watch our reviews and like let us know the truth on YouTube. So shout out to you. And they'll let us know if Tom Hardy was in it before. I know they will. They always let us know. The replacement callback, I like that. Just hearing that again, damn replacements. And then on April 12th, remember, it's 1945, April 1945. On April 12th, FDR died, right? So they mentioned that. The president died. It was Truman that replaced him. And a little fact for people that don't know, the S, most people probably will know, but the S in Harry S. Truman doesn't stand for anything or whatever. But so it was Truman that replaced him. Well, I think this is the reason why I think the S don't stand for anything. His mom and dad, both of their dads' names start with S. So it's like they just put an S in his middle name. So both dads thought that the name came from them or something like that.
So is this like when Wayne say the F is for phenomenal or the F is for?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for sure. So Harry S. Truman, the S is
whatever
for
you wanted to be.
Whatever you wanted to be. 300,000 Germans soldiers surrendered. It was weird watching them get shot. I never think that's like, I always think that's kind of different watching soldiers shoot soldiers that surrendered. Even in what's going on in real time, watching some of the soldiers that surrendered get like shot in the kneecaps and stuff. I don't know if you've been looking at some of those videos, but I have. So then here we go, right? You come across the concentration camp. And it was, they did a job at showing you what that looks like and giving you buy-in to why they were there or whatever, right? It was super traumatic. It was super detailed. The one person legs was like dangling, bro. That's how like skinny they were. Like it was almost like the bone was gone. You know what I mean? And one person that was being carried. So these people, and it's crazy because at this time they didn't even know what it was. I don't know if you remember that. It's like, what kind of camp is this? So this was us finding out what was actually happening to people over there. We didn't know. You know what I'm saying? But this is the information that we have now. You saw O'Keefe, right? He came all kind of happy, go lucky, whistling and shit. O'Keefe was somewhere in a bunker, just kind of shocked, like devastated, bro. And then so they had to put them back into the camp to regulate their food. And Hitler, this is just a quick rundown. Hitler committed suicide. And then it was like, all right, now we still need to go, to where he was at and still kind of take that, take that land. But the one thing that I did want to bring up that stood out to me was as I was watching it, I looked over to Angeline and I'm like, yo, like, don't you? Because I'm like, yo, you can't just feed people that have been starving like that much food, right? You gotta, like, don't you? And I don't know this stuff, but I'm like, yo, you probably gotta regulate it, right? They can't just like, because they won't know, or understand their limit. So when the doc said that, I was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that was still devastating for them to be in concentration camps. And then, well, it could have been concentration or work camps or death camps or whatever. But for them to be in camps, the shit get burned when the soldiers find out that they coming. When the German soldiers, whatever, find out that they coming to that our soldiers are on the way, and them get shot pretty much until the soldiers run out of ammo or whatever, and then just get left to starve. And then you starving, and then people finally come, and then you get a little bit of food and water, and then get told to go back to those places that you've been devastated at. And then the last part was they was like, well, like the Russian, what's happening over there with the Russians is even worse. Then they talk about people being in ovens and stuff like that. right? And I remember being young, really young, right? Transparency, real young. I said a joke. I was a kid, a little kid. I said a joke about, I had a Jewish teacher and I said a joke. I was like 9 or I was young, probably 13 actually.
Don't get canceled. Get canceled.
Yeah. And I'll never say the joke, but I just, even at this age, I'm still sorry for saying that joke. You know, and I don't think I think I had way too much pride to apologize then. But even at this age, I'm still sorry for saying that joke. There's a lot of devastation and hurt from those moments or whatever. So that's it. That's all my assessment is of that show. It was good. We got one more episode.
One more episode. So Damo pretty much said everything that happened in the show. But I want to say this, man. Every 1 through 8 episodes, it was blood and guts. This episode was probably more powerful than all those episodes, and it wasn't that much bloodshed. I think you saw the soldiers killed other soldiers, but other than that, it wasn't that much bloodshed, and it's nothing killing and stuff like that. Besides the correction camp, people just, crazy on how them people looked out there that could be on TV, man. Because I don't think it wasn't that much animation in 2001 and all this stuff, man. Yeah. These people was like crazy the way they looked, man. Like it was crazy. But the show started off, man, like people was talking in the show about, how they been over here 2-3 years and why they doing this and why they doing that. That whole thing translated over to the concentration camps, and now you know why you doing this fighting. You know what I mean? So now we know, now we got the why out the way when we seen how they was doing these people. And then we found out there's more concentration camps all over the place. And man, that shit was crazy, man. Like if you haven't saw this Band of Brothers, man, it is something to behold, man. I'm looking at this show, like every show we see, I'm like, God dang, man, this is crazy. Like you said about Tom Hardy, first time you seen him, and he was a youngster and that, so that was pretty crazy. But man, the power in this show when the lieutenant finally lost it, man. They had the lieutenant that been there for a while, and he finally like lost it, man. So they've been doing this for a while, but he goes on another jump, right? Jumped out of parachute into the fire, pretty much. But this time, only him and somebody else survived. Right. And all the rest. So he had to come back, and they CO died too. So he has to write these letters now to all the family. So it finally took its toll on him, and he was losing it, man. And normally he got much respect for whatever the other guy, I forgot his Weathers. He got much respect, but he was going in on him too. Like, you know what I mean? Give him attitude, get him stuff. And,
he was pissed.
And then on top of all of that stuff he got going on, his wife wanted to divorce him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hit that way. And he was like, she even wanted to take the dog. It ain't even her dog he was going through. He had lost it, man.
Yeah.
But you just see the effect on the war. These guys been over 2 and 3 years of fighting this war.
Yeah.
Over there, man. It was finally taking its toll, and it probably took its toll on him, man. That was powerful too in the whole movie. But the concentration camp stuff, man, good gracious, man, that was crazy for me.
Yeah, man.
Good movie. 5. I'm done giving 4 out of 5s, man. It was 5 out of 5 for me. It was the one for me, man.
Yeah.
5 out of 5, man.
Yeah,
it was that powerful for me. And I'm telling you, man, they didn't even have to even talk in the movie, man. I'm telling you, the stuff I seen in this one
visually
was crazy. Yeah. Visuals was crazy, man. It was crazy.
Spielberg and Tom Hanks and whoever else they working with, man. That, like 20 years ago, they were still top level, high level people. Still high level people 20 years ago. So, hey, but that's it. That was it, man. We got one more episode left. That was it. That was the episode. Hey, before you get out of here, GSE1, I want to say thanks for joining us, being a part of this thing. I don't think this would be the only time that you are a part of this. And then I personally want to say thank you for professionally, man. I learned a lot from working with you, actually, man. I feel like I try my best to learn more from people than I could ever teach them. And I learned a whole lot. And there's a lot of sellers that are better for what you've taught me. You know what I'm saying? And you might not even know you taught it. But we referenced a few of those things on the pod. I might have said some things and been like, somebody told me this, somebody told me that. a lot of the times it was you. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate it, man. And I appreciate you joining us today. I appreciate you listening, supporting, and providing honest feedback whenever I call you, like, hey, what you thought about the pod? So we appreciate you. I know me and Angeline, we love your family. We wish you luck with the new baby and the baby you got now, and good luck with Chief. And I hope you make it. And you know, when you do, whenever you do, hit me up, man. You know what I'm saying? It's a reason why I'm saying that, and you'll know when that time comes around. That's all I got, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Same for me, man. Hey, yep. Thank you for coming on, man. Stand up guy, man. Stand up guy. You always been like that. Day one guy, man. You never freaking did something because somebody told you to do it, man. You always want to know the why I'm doing something. That's what we need. We need more people like that to not just do it because somebody said do it. It's always could be a better way to doing it, man. You always voice your opinion and stood up and talk. You ain't just freaking just go out there and just do things, man. So keep doing what you're doing and everything else is going to fall in place for you, man. So thank you for coming on, man.
Appreciate that.
Yep. Deuces, man. Mississippi stand up. You guys already know what it is, man.
Yo,
You know
we ain't gonna download. We ain't gonna download from Mississippi about 8 months, man.
Oh man,
Mississippi
come on,
been sitting their ass
man.
down for the last
Come
8
on,
months,
man.
man.
Come on, Mississippi, man.